In the celestial stratification of Star Wars, certain constituents bear profound influence. Amidst the Bombad court, located at the very nucleus of this cosmic narrative, perspicacious examiners deliberate upon these pivotal constituents. They constitute an exceptional juridical consortium, acclaimed far and wide as the Bombadcast. These are their determinations.
This court doth convene. Let all persons present rise for our honourable judges.
Esteemed patrons of the arts, pray allow us to extend an invitation of the highest order, one that transports you to a realm where the stars themselves become our canvas.
Join us for a live stream of unparalleled distinction, where we embark on a journey through the cosmos of Star Wars, employing the venerable tradition of tier making. In this splendid gathering, we shall deliberate and discern, weighing the merits, the metal of the denizens of the galaxy far, far away.
On this very day, we shall classify these aspects into tiers that echo with the resonance of ages.
We entreat you to don your robes of discernment and wield your scepter of opinion, for your presence shall be the keystone of this cosmic symposium. Let the Force guide your judgment as we navigate this celestial odyssey together.
Mark well the date and the hour for which this live stream experience, for it shall be a celestial event of cosmic proportions. We anticipate your attendance and contributions with the highest regard.
Pray, all rise and attend, for this court is now convened in solemn deliberation. Let all who stand within be mindful of the weight of justice that hangs in the balance. With humility and reverence, we beseech the guidance of providence in the affairs that lie before us.
May we one and all remain in the highest of spirits, undaunted by the adversity, and resolute in our endeavors, striving evermore to stay bombad in our pursuits.
With great reverence, I now summon forth the honorable counselors who shall, with eloquence and erudition, champion their respective causes in this esteemed chamber.
On behalf of the court and jurors, I beseech you to approach a stand poised, gentlemen, erect, for the pursuit of justice, guided by the principles and decorum befitting this noble endeavor. Let their wisdom and advocacy be a beacon of light in our quest for truth and equity. I present you the humble Michael McCoy.
Good evening, Your Honors.
I present you the dutiful Alden Diaz.
Dudbolt is innocent.
I now introduce a new member of the jury, well, not the jury, of the attorney delegates,
The honorable, yes.
Captain Nikhail Kumar. Gentlemen, we are very lucky to have you all here for this honorable experience. Jerry, explain the rules and yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now. Okay, here we go. In this digital forum, noble virtual attendees, we beseech you. We beseech you to take on a role of utmost significance. That of the esteemed jurors of our virtual courtroom as we traverse the realm of cyberspace. It is your discerning voices that shall weigh the matters at hand, much akin to the hallowed jurors of yore.
Your opinions, dear interlocutors, shall shape the course of our deliberations, for it is your collective wisdom that shall guide our path towards a verdict steeped in the very essence of justice. Thus,
amen,
for you to deliberate with the gravity and diligence befitting this noble undertaking, for in this digital chamber you are the paragons of discernment and virtue.
Before us lies the docket, an assemblage of these very concepts, awaiting our judicious appraisal. Each one vies for its rightful place within the hierarchy we are to construct. It is our solemn duty then to educate their worthiness, to weigh their merits and demerits with impartial hearts.
Yet, let it be known that this endeavor is not devoid of challenge. In this chamber of intellectual discourse, disagreements may arise. It is in the crucible of dissent that the truth metal of our discernment shall be tested. With the utmost decorum and respect, we shall address these disparities. For it is through this crucible that we shall forge a verdict steeped in the crucible of truth.
In all our endeavors, let us hold fast to the beacon of virtue. Let us not be swayed by the capricious winds of popular sentiment, but instead be the lodestar of truth. Or let the lodestar of truth illuminate our path with honor and integrity as our guiding stars. We shall render judgment in accordance with the highest ideals of our noble calling.
Attorneys, pray, present your case before this tribunal. Excuse me, Attorney Diaz, your microphone seems to be muted.
Hello.
Embarrassing.
Hello?
Hello.
There we are.
Hello?
No,
We call that
grab my hearing horn.
That was a Counselor Jared level mistake. I apologize.
Agreed.
Verily. Your Honors,
Yay.
last time I was here, I had the affect of a foghorn leghorn southerner. Today, I'm afraid business is far more serious than that.
Good.
In
Very well.
the nomenclature of yore, from highest esteem to more humble stations, we, us chosen few, bestow designations of SABC and D. These tiers serve as a means to arrange and discern, akin to the rungs of a ladder or the branches of a tree. S tier, resplendent and supreme, houses the epitome of excellence, while the F tier, though not without merit, rests as the foundation upon which we build.
Each tier, a realm unto itself, is marked by distinctions both subtle and clear. Those of S tier are the paragons, the exemplars, distinguished by unrivaled prowess and accomplishment. A follows closely, a testament to exceptional standing where excellence is manifest in abundance.
B tier, though a step below, harbors commendable virtue and commendable talent. C holds steady as the ground of competence, where one navigates with sure-footedness. The tier, though not without merit, speaks to areas with refinement, yet may yet find its place.
Nikki, what was your favorite movie this year?
The Boy and the Heron.
It wasn't an accompany.
Oh my god.
Order! Let the Frenchman finish.
I believe I have concluded my statement.
Mr.
Ah,
Diaz,
by-
I
by-
believe.
Thus, in the tiers of antiquity, we categorize and commend according honor where it is due and providing room for growth and aspiration.
Amen.
Gentlemen, we will be deliberating upon Podracers and Podrace pilots, respectively. I have compiled an image, or a series of images, to determine who we feel fits the bar. Jerry, right here, as you can see, will be categorizing them based upon our request and based upon your deliberation. We shall now first start with the docket in alphabetical order. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. Here is our images.
Smash that bell.
Our first one, for those that do not know, in Legends, lays Lone Osner, who was a big fan of the Tashi station, had an ACD 950 Podracer, though there is no image of it. Where shall we place him upon our tiers?
Would it be
Please.
fair to say that this is a very unremarkable individual, given the lack of image of even just his racer?
I would agree. I mean, part of why we're here tonight, gentlemen, is not just for accolades and standing in the rankings. It's about, as Megamind would say, presentation. And where's the flair? Where's the confidence? Where's the grit? Where's the nastiness? Where's the sex appeal? I see none of it here.
My fellow judges, esteemed jury, my esteemed fellow attorneys, I believe this man firmly belongs in the F tier. And let me say, he may have owned one, but there is no record of him actually operating it.
That's true.
So how can we say in any regard what tier he belongs on? Now, the most well-documented individual in this galaxy is none other than Anakin Skywalker. And Anakin Skywalker, from his mouth, we heard, I'm the only human who can do it. Now, are we to sit here and disregard the word of the chosen one?
And
Believe
at
not.
that table, I would note, if at any point tonight we're going to question, the word of a child, Qui-Gon Jinn, who witnessed pod racing on Malastare, did not dispute young Skywalker's claim.
We
It's
are in
true.
agreement. Michael,
Late,
where do
if I may, one more point.
by all means,
Because I feel it's important as we start this tier list. Lay's Lone Osner is an important benchmark for this court to lay down and separate the hobbyists from the true racers.
I agree.
I concur with counsel. I do believe that he belongs in the D or F tier. I think, quite frankly, the world of pod racing is filled with quirky characters, remarkable designs, blink and you miss it people that even if you were to miss them, you would come back later and find them again.
Yes.
This
Yes.
looks like a background extra that no one would ever remember.
And to Nikki's point, if we don't establish firm boundaries about who and who is not actually in the realm of distinction within this sport and within the cinematic experience of watching the sport, then do we just open it up to anybody? Is any swoop racer from KOTOR eligible for this list? Are the riot racers eligible for this list? Where do we draw the lines?
Well, Mr. Diaz, we drawed based on the previous research done by the judges, and if we are going to be in agreement, the only reason why this character has any significance is due to the fact that he reappeared in Book of Boba Fett after being in a deleted scene with Cammy, or whatever the hell her name was, and we had a reappearance of this character. Otherwise, he holds no significance besides finding a damn good lookalike in the Book of Boba Fett.
Your honors, what is the lowest
And having
tier this
someone
evening?
else eat his chips. Right?
D,
Remember he had a
D
bike to eat
tier
his
or
chips.
F tier? What is how low are we going tonight?
Lowest, I believe, Jerry, if you could scroll down, it's D tier.
Lowest is D. Is
Banish
D.
him.
D tier.
Banish
To the
him.
D
Please,
tier.
Jerry, do us the honor and put him in the D tier.
Non-racers
To
to
the
the
D.
D.
Oh. my.
Give that man the D.
I want to hear some punishment.
It has been determined. Laid
D tier.
Lays Lon Osnam is in the D tier.
Has
You have been banished to the D.
Has Bombadcast's holy chamber, the Bombad Court, ever started a deliberation with such a ruthless judgment?
Never. Not once.
Mm.
Our next one shall be quite interesting.
Not in 3 installments has it gotten to this point.
Bozzy Bar on Bob Jerry. Can you say his name?
Bozzy Baranata.
Baron.
I believe
Baranta.
it's Bozzy
Baranta.
Baranta.
Bozzy Baranta.
He drives a
Baranta.
lovely
Yeah,
Shelba
have the music.
730 Razor. Hey,
Well,
he drives
gentlemen.
one of them there Shelba 730 razors. All right.
That's right, Shelba.
Shelba
Forget about it.
730.
Your Honor,
I believe
I may
this
begin.
looks like I believe this looks like Thanos's little cousin or something.
I was going to make a different comparison, Your Honor.
Yes.
This is just Randall from Monsters, Inc.
Yes. Yes, I very much agree.
Which means he
And
does.
therefore,
he is Steve Buscemi.
B
Same
tier.
mustache.
Yes.
He's got the same mustache as Dex from Dex's Diner as well.
He does look like Jared, I do agree.
He's got the same fashion sense too.
Yes, this pod is
Yes,
kind
you
of
can't
all
see
over
it in
the
this photo. Oh, so you can't see this photo, but he's
I
wearing
would like to
Crocs.
say, since we've been roasting this young man Bozzy's appearance, I will say the Shelba 730 razor is pretty nice.
It
It
does
does.
look
It-
like a razor.
It
No,
is
I've-
Very
a
boss.
nice. It gives me the same feeling that a Motorola razor would.
Yes.
I've got a lot to say about Mr. Baranta, actually.
Let us
wow.
begin with Mikhail.
Yes.
Okay, so Bozzy Baranta is known for starting off in the industry as the mechanic for Gasgano, which is
Yes, it's true.
quite a job. Gasgano being one of the galaxy's most famous racers. Now, friends of the court, everybody listening, I want you to close your eyes and put yourself
Close your
in the
eyes.
shoes of a dreamer.
Close your eyes.
Bozzy Baranta
Mm.
worked on Gasgano's pod dutifully, and with every turn of the wrench, every agonizing drop of sweat, love that he poured into that pod, he said every time, "I can make it. I can be a racer." You know what? He did it.
Wow. He did
He
it.
did it. It's a rags to riches story, and it's beautiful. And if this is not why we love this sport, then I don't know what is.
Nikki,
So-
I completely agree. B tier.
Is Bozzy Baranta the American dream?
Yes, and I
Should-
propose for that reason. For
I mean, just take a look at him. Look at
for
that
having
face.
the spirit of a true
Look at the longing.
racer. For encompassing everything we love about the sport. Bozzy Baranta belongs in the S tier and no lower than the A tier. I will negotiate, but no lower than the A tier. He is the reason kids wake up and turn on their HoloNets to watch this sport, because he is those kids. He is their dreams. He is a true racer.
Bozzy
Incredible.
Baranta is proof that a young purple Italian can come to Ellis Island, change his name from Barantadino to Baranta, build himself a Shelba from spare Shelba parts,
He does look like Danny DeVito fucked Grimace.
He is proof that Adam Driver's Enzo Ferrari is the
Yes.
real Enzo Ferrari.
Did you say Adam Driver's Enzo Amore?
Yes. I
Well-
came into this knowing next to nothing about Bozzy. Suddenly,
And he's changed your life.
I
He's
think we
changed
should-
your life.
We
I
should
must
never
say-
stop talking about this young man.
I must say, I've been swayed. B tier.
B
Let me-
tier.
Let me
A,
also add.
let's settle on that A.
Let me
Fair
also add a fun facet of Bozzy Baranta. Because of his experience as a mechanic, he often thought about repairing his pod more than actually like being on the track, which is I say lacks the hubris of worse minds, because he's always
Yes.
thinking, I don't want to ruin what I've got here. So let's get repairing. It's a very fascinating aspect to his character, and sets him apart from a lot of other racers who might just willy-nilly fly off and crash their pods into a stalactite like the idiot Rat Starrell.
Will the judges do me the favor, please, of bringing up Mr. Fry's comment?
Yes, I also agree. This is very important. Bozzy's pod is a copycat of S tier dud bolts.
Now,
And-
this is not an indictment of Bozzy. I just wanted it to be on the record
It's
that
true.
Dudbolt was referred to as S tier
just-
Dudbolt.
I think we'll all agree on that when we get to dud bolt.
Stenographer, keep that on the record.
And it is not a copycat, I will say, but we're free to have opinions.
Compromise to the A tier to please the court.
A
A tier, gentlemen. Nikai, are you okay with that determination?
A just conclusion. Your
Do
Honor.
we have perhaps somebody in one of the judges' offices could run some research? Do we have a canon status on Mr. Baranta?
By all means. I believe his only appearance is in the Star Wars Podracer video game from 1999. I don't
That
believe
means
he has
there's-
appeared.
There's still a chance. Make it
He
right.
is
still
not in
very
racial
much.
revenge.
He
Make
is
it
not
right,
in racial
Pablo.
revenge.
Bring him.
I believe we can all agree
Come on, Pablo.
he is an A tier character.
I like
Bozzy Baranta, my
Beautiful.
sleep paralysis demon. A tier.
A
I like
tier.
Gannon 136's comment.
What did you
Dudbolt
say?
is the real Slim Shady.
Shady. That's right. We will get to Dudbolt actually very soon. I mean, he might even be the next one. We'll see. Bozzy Barata, A tier. Great determinations, fellas.
A tier.
A tier. Let's see how next one is going to be.
Great deliberation.
Aldar Beto, the Mark IV flat twin turbojet.
Look, I don't mean
Incredible.
to turn this into anatomie d'un chien in the French court, where evidently you can just say whatever, even if it's conjecture, as long as you say this isn't evidence. So this isn't evidence. I want to know where this guy was on January 6th. Aldar Beto, look at that stance. Look at the condescension. This to me is a character who we might need to keep an eye on. I am suspect of his methods.
If
I
I,
like
saw
his
this
neck.
man
To
in my
me, that
apartment
stance-
building, I would call an exterminator. C tier.
C tier.
See,
The
to,
pod
to-
design.
to me, when I see this stance, I see you better not be cunty Aldo Abito when I get there. So, here we go.
I mean, character aside, I think it is important when discussing Al Arbito to notice that he is known in the pod racing circuit as a speedster, and he started front row at the Bunta Eve in 32 BBY, and he finished third place, which is respectable. And I think another interesting aspect to Aldar Beto is not only was he a racer, he was also a hitman and bounty hunter assassin. And I think a lot of people can appreciate, especially in this economy, what it's like to work multiple jobs.
Yes.
And I think he's not S. I don't even think he's A. I think a B or a C is respectable. Possibly B for that Bunta Eve finish. The top three at the Bunta Eve, that's nothing to sniff at.
No, historic race indeed. Also, evidence has just come across my desk from Mr. Fry in the comments that those designs on there are Zero the Hutt's tattoos. This is a Zero guy. which
Oh
puts him up,
my.
quite frankly, a little bit in my esteem. I misjudged the type of shady that he is.
Yes.
But Zero is an upstanding individual who's never done anything wrong. I mean, Zero is one of the most just like airtight operations in the galaxy that man runs.
Besides sounding like a poor New Orleanian, you're correct.
Yes.
How is that mechanic?
I would still vote for the C tier. However, I will compromise to B tier if it would please the court.
Yeah, I
B
could
for Beto.
very comfortably go with either. B
for Vito.
B for
Beto.
Beto.
I will
Vito.
say the only redeeming quality of this character is that he's an apex predator based on his eyes alone. His eyes face forward, and they're red. And his pod is badass.
His eyes are very
He is
red,
an
yes,
assassin.
yes.
I do like the color scheme of his pod racer.
Very much so.
He looks like he has a proboscis as well, so
Oh.
he sucks out your organs. He
Oh,
Yes, he
yeah,
does.
sucks
buddy.
out your organs.
This-
Now, Dudbolt's eyes shows he's actually prey.
Dudbolt.
Due to his eyes being on the side, he's going to be aware at all times. So he
But look,
he must be a vegetarian.
The fact that
Evolution.
Dudbolt would be, a biological prey just adds to the fact that he is a strategic, by necessity, he's a strategic survivalist of a man. This right here, look at that snout. Who amongst us hasn't gotten up in the morning and walked over to the mirror and said, "My snout just ain't it. I'm not having a Dudbolt day." This is not dud bolting right now. I am not my dud boltiest. That's how I live my life. This
Don't wake
is
me
S
up
tier.
before don't talk to me before I've had my dud bolt, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, she dud until I bolt.
Hey, Laval, let's go, dude.
Regardless, Nikael, you may deliberate.
I'm gonna bring up a few points here, and then we'll decide as a court, of course. I come into this discussion with no, he needs to be somewhere, but I will raise a few points here. So the mighty Dudbolt was one of the favorites to win the Bunta race. Did he win? No. Now, it's also been documented over time that Dudbolt, the very same mighty Dudbolt, was widely regarded as Sebulba's mid-air bodyguard.
Interesting.
Mid-air bodyguard for another racer who's actually winning races. Now, legal statutes have been established in Gardula versus Madison. The 11th Circuit Appeals Court labeled working for the benefit of another driver who is scoring higher than you. That 11th Circuit Appeals Court labeled that as bitch work. Now, court.
What's language?
Again, I'm direct quote, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Now, jury, judges, attorney, I just want to say, as a society, should we be putting someone in the S tier who has been legally labeled as a committer of bitch work?
Counselor Nikki, I hear your points, and they are all valid and 100% correct. However, Dudbolt does kind of remind me of the monsters in the M. Night Shyamalan film, The Village, as does his pod racer, and therefore S tier.
So Adrian Brody is in there, is what you're saying.
There's no proof of that, Michael McCoy. You are referring to things that do not exist in this realm.
Look, again, S tier, if that's what society deems, then we have to accept the rules of the court. I'm just saying, when you go to bed at night, you're going to think about it, and you're going to wonder a little bit, as we all should. So I'm open to what the court feels. I do not come here saying he needs to be here, but I just wanted that on the conscience of the court. Thank you.
Consular Diaz, I cannot hear you. I don't know why. I believe in some capacity a microphone is muted. It is no longer... I can no longer... Wait, hold on. Speak again? I do not hear you.
You have been silenced.
We have been silenced. I will
Nikki's
say
words
one
were
thing.
so powerful that they have silenced Counselor Diaz.
Incredible. What a
And
rare
if he cannot
thing.
Nothing
defend
to
Dud
What
say.
Bolt,
once
then
was
Dud Bolt-
thought impossible.
Many have tried. None
Dud Bolt
successful.
perhaps must go to A tier then. I have changed my mind. If
No,
Alden
pardon.
cannot sway me, then I must concede.
We
Abel.
long, like, oh, I cannot hear you for some. Is it a me? Did I do something?
No,
Is
I
it
cannot
correct?
hear Counselor Diaz either.
I cannot. I as well cannot hear Councillor Diaz.
Can
The
chat
force works in
then-
mysterious ways.
Perhaps
will speak-
Counselor Diaz
I'm-
should leave and return to this Streamlabs.
I believe that the Dark Jedi has sent his spies.
It's if you would like to, Consul Diaz, you could always leave and come back in, and that may fix the problem, though your presence will be missed. I will speak for just a brief moment on this while we wait for Consul Diaz. Attorney Nikhail, we do have Jerry and I one, I guess you could say, determination overall. If we would like to, surpass the attorneys and go with one, our decisions. For me personally, Dud Bolt is S tier because he is the best, and I mean best, pilot on Star Wars Podracer 1999 for the N64. This is my main. He is my main.
Now, however, if I may play devil's advocate for but a moment, Your Honor, should we bloat the S tier this early? We have many racers to come.
Your Honor, I must say, that's factually untrue in terms of base stats.
I believe we can hear you now, Senior D.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, beautifully.
Yes.
Sorry
Oh.
about the
Yes,
miscommunication.
Thank you. Whatever fucking malarkey website we're in right here. All right. We are crimes being committed in the court because somebody dares speak the truth. Wow. The Commodore over here is trying to drag Dud Bolt's name through the mud with a bitch work ruling that we all know was bought and paid for, probably by Clarence Thomas's people. I cannot for a second allow this to happen.
Yeah.
The fact that this man could be the favorite and also be the man that was supporting the champion is a testament to his level of skill, not a knock. This is the fact that he could be propping Sebulba's career up on his back, on his glorious erect snout, and still people are saying, you know what? Sebulba is the champion. Sebulba is the man, but Dud Bolt is still the favorite. Dud Bolt is your racer's favorite racer for that reason. He could be running
He was
all
a
types of
favorite,
games
not
at
the
once.
favorite. Just to be
This
clear.
is this.
Look, I didn't know we were coming in here with such hog riding. So again, I don't mean to step on toes here, but it is just a fact. I have the legal ruling here. Like it happened. So
Nikki
you
does
can say
have
this,
legal
this.
precedent.
You can say
He
this,
does.
whatever. I'm just saying, yeah, he could be in the S tier, but
I believe Nikki and I have concurred on A tier, and while Counselor Diaz is insistent on S tier, I believe we have him to a 2-1 vote.
Again, I have not placed a vote anywhere. I would be open if it's what the court wants. I can make concessions, but it has to be on the record.
Judge Cable.
Well, I'm getting here that Dud Bolt pulled Bupenheim out of a burning building in 2001. So I'm gonna go S tier.
Or did we just suddenly not care about
I feel
the private lives of these people? This isn't Sports Center. We're talking about characters. We're talking about presence.
this-
We're talking about heart.
Woodsy has convinced me. He doesn't care or want the fame, and that's a winner, not in the races, but in love, in selflessness for others. I believe
What's he get?
I believe that Dud Bolt, for me personally, does go in the S tier based off design alone
S tier.
and my favorable pod racer in the game.
Here's to being a bitch.
This will be
S
my
tier.
one jurisdiction. This is it. My one. It is S tier, regardless of what the council says. S tier, Mr. Cable. Can you place Dud Bolt in the S tier?
He
Wonderful, look
is
at that.
S tier.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Moving
God.
on. Moving on. The other pods races might not cause this much deliberation, but this one is shrivel brat.
Allow me
Red.
to take the lead, Your
By all
Honor.
means. By all means.
Shrivel Raytrand is my main in the best pod racing game, Racer Revenge, for the PlayStation 2.
Bullshit.
And therefore, I mean,
Bullshit.
just look at this man. Look at this
Absolute
dude.
bullshit.
Look at this dude. Look at this behemoth. This
Bullshit.
youngest of a racer. His beautiful pod. And the fact that his first name is Shrivel. S tier.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
S tier automatically. S tier.
Did I stutter, Your Honor?
I am. I must
do
see
like the name
deliberation.
of his pod, the Colorless Squall. I do enjoy that.
I enjoy that. I enjoy the design. I'm going to need to hear. I'm going to need to hear some great deeds. I'm going to need to hear some stats. I'm
He is also
undecided.
named after one of the developers. So.
Here's the thing, Counselor Diaz. There are none. Just to be upfront about it. Shrivel, again, similar to Bozzy, started as a mechanic, and has elevated himself to the point of racer. Now, what's interesting here is I believe he worked for Bull's Roar.
Oh.
And that pod is actually just Bull's Roar pod, but with extra junk strapped on it. So,
Really?
indeed. So I believe if that's something that you want to take into consideration as far as, he's just using someone else's equipment, then that's
Took
up,
a template of
that's
someone
up to you
else's
guys.
equipment. And he made it his own. He added his own trash. He is a
That's
trash
fair.
man.
That's fair. I think he's got a
And
cool
he
story.
exists
He
as a
neither
blank
excites me
slate.
nor offends me. He can go a solid
I
B.
think B tier is where I would place him. S tier is
B
a
for
bold
Bombad.
move for a character that is no legacy. There is
Because
there is,
he is a blank slate upon which to project your own pod racer story as you play
This
through the best
fucker?
pod racer game.
Look at his
Racer
face.
Revenge.
He's a
Look at
self-insert.
I
He's a-
look at his face regularly
He's a
when
Mary
I play
Sue.
that game.
Is Shrivel Brace wrapped up?
Is he the man in the mirror, Michael?
Is Shrivel Braytrand an opportunist, Your Honor?
I don't like
This
him.
is
I believe
this is
Shrivel is
complicated.
male.
Now, I believe you said he worked for Niels Bohr, the scientist from Oppenheimer.
Yes, him and his cousin Bull's Roar.
Oh, really?
Oh, so he can he or can he not hear the music, Your Honor? That's my question about Shrivel Braytrand.
Shrivel
He sees
Braytrand
the
reminds
track
me-
as energy.
Does he need to bring in the sheets? Is that what it is?
Shrivel Braytron has the aesthetic of a lunch lady.
Yeah, S tier.
Well,
Imagine
I'm
your lunch lady
Excellent
pod
deliberation,
racing.
Judge.
There are
Miss
serious
Dee?
allegations being made in the chat right now by the Room Boom. If we, I
just don't
appreciate
like-
this Serenity reference, Mr. Fry.
I just don't know if I'm going to be frank here. I don't know if I like his outfit. He doesn't have shoes.
Good.
It's just hooves with jeans tied around the bottom of them.
I respect bringing
Overalls.
back overalls.
I
He
agree.
does have big ass hands
Yes.
too.
Yes, his hands could
Imagine-
You know what they
shaking
say about
his
big ass hands.
Hands for days.
You're a good pod racer.
Sure,
I believe
I've heard
if-
that.
I believe Michael says S. Nikael, where do you think he falls? B tier?
I think a B is fair.
I think B.
I'm
is
not
fair.
here to say Mr. McCoy is wrong. Also, I just want
Would
to
you
say
at
I
least
love
consider an
love-
elevation to the A tier for my
it just
love
makes
of
me
this
happy. I want to say
incredible race?
quickly that I can call you Mr. McCoy, Law and Order fan here. And, I like being in a court and being able to call you that. Anyway, I look, I don't want to step on someone's passion here. It's just personally, I think it's dangerous. It's we got a lot of heavy hitters left. Do you want
We
a
do.
balloon to S tier? I don't know.
Fine. A.
B tier? A tier?
A tier.
So Diaz.
I am not an advocate for many of these racers, nor am I an expert, and this is one hill I will die on.
I am prepared to allow him to get his way, him being my esteemed co-counsel, Mr.
Look,
McCoy.
Shrivel has clearly inspired love and affection.
I agree. There is definitely passion.
Is this a man of the people? Can we tell the immigrant story of Bazi and then be selective about which people's folk heroes we choose to support? That's a dangerous breaking of precedent, I think.
Shrivel. The legacy of Shrivel Bertrand. You know what, Mr. Cable, Judge Cable, I believe we should, for the sake of our compatriot here and a longtime collaborator, let us put this character upon the highest of tiers, the S tier.
S for Shrivel.
S for Shrivel.
Your Honor,
we win, baby.
Your Honor,
We win.
I would like to make a point here, Your Honor. You know, I gave a very passionate speech about Mr. Baranta, and none of Shrivel's points surpassed Mr. Baranta. And I sat here and I said, you know what, A is good. And I feel a little, harshly done by watching Shrivel.
Would you like to push for a veto of some kind? That each judge does get 2 if you could sway them.
Okay,
I feel a little hard done.
One
by.
each.
I will say take your complaints up with the streaming Star Wars phone line. That's what you should. That's what you should call your complaints into. It's like
call complaints. All complaints to the.
We just had the conversation here about whose stories are getting elevated. I think they should come in at the same level.
We will. Maybe we can reconvene at the end of this. The next one is Toy Dampener, the Turka 910 special pod racer. He looks elegant.
Toy Dampener is a fascinating guy because he's sitting there writing that Desolation Alley race course. Okay, he's known as the Executioner Circuit. Yeah. All right, now he is a wizard. He's a wizard in zero gravity. He flies through those tunnels like nothing else. And you know what I love about Toy Dampener here? He races at a prison. Okay.
Who before?
Is this man incarcerated? No. All right, and he still is the champion of a prison course. You know why? Because he's looking out for his incarcerated homies.
Is that like he's like the Johnny Cash of pod racing?
Yeah, he's literally performing for them. They're there, they're locked up. The feds got him, and it's like, come on, we can give him a little something. And you got to see this guy fly in 0G, man. It is unreal. I still won't say S, but I think he's a solid A.
I don't know much about this character. I don't think I've unlocked him in the video game.
I don't either. And at first, I was a little taken aback by the flash of this racer design, and maybe came out a little bit strong. But knowing his contacts, that he is the king of the prison races, and it's like that right there. If you're running the prison racetrack, and you're the champion of that circuit, I mean, you got to let him know. And I respect that level of theatricality presentation.
Yes.
I thought this man was very ugly, and I still do. However, he does have a sick pod with an even sicker color scheme. I concur with Counselor Nikki, A tier.
I believe Jerry and Judge Cable and I will agree that this is a character that does fit the A tier.
A tier?
He looks he looks like if you were to smush Bozzy a little bit though. Just there's a similarity that's quite perplexing here. There's the same mustache almost. It's just odd.
Honestly, he looks like a fugitive from one of the Animorphs books I read in elementary school. But
is he one of the Andalites?
Indeed.
I think he looks really close to Jedi Master Coleman Trevor.
That is who he is.
When you get him in,
he's got a dinosaur-ness about him.
Hope he has better reaction times than Coleman Trevor.
Clearly does.
Oh,
our next one.
Also, I enjoy that his name is Toy Dampener, which just sounds just like toys in a flood or something.
Jerry, can you read us this man's name?
Is it
Canary Doc?
Yeah.
He drives
Kamiri,
they drive a Sebris Howler 1165 Podracer.
Sebris
Does
Howler has
Canary
divorced
race in the coal
energy,
mine?
divorced dad energy, and not in the good way, like some people.
My only comment is that his name seems like some sort of innuendo for a penis, and he looks like a penis. So
What's
there's
fascinating? What's fascinating is I always believed it was Nair Dark, but we don't
As
know.
did
It
I.
might be Naya Dark.
I
Um,
don't know.
Oh, is it not?
What's
Kanai?
fascinating is Nair
Oh,
Dark
God.
is actually female,
Oh,
which
With
is a
exposed
fascinating
breasts.
development.
So I wouldn't want to
in
be
the eyes of the
racing
court.
next to her. D tier.
Wow.
Now let me say this:
All cancelled. All of us are cancelled.
pod racing has long had an underrepresentation for the female fan and the female racer. So I think
Yes,
it's impossible to, it's impossible to discount Dark's contributions. But Dark is a terrible racer. Dark is actually a smuggler who was using pod racing as a front for the smuggling business. And because she is not that good, she got caught. Her racing career ended in 22 BBY.
my lord.
So,
And if you're using this sport as cover to advance in your other career, I mean, like, how much does the love of the game matter?
Yes.
It has to be a significant amount. We arrive
Yes.
here in these conversations because of passion. And frankly, even if we were to say, maybe Nair, maybe that means, I remember the argument I made for Mr. Bolt, and I could see that being thrown at me here. Oh, but Alden, you said that if Dudball was doing things, and that meant more. Perhaps. But if we put Nair Dark in a high tier, then that means we snub Margot Robbie. And if we snub Margot Robbie, then everybody on Twitter is going to have a conniption. People from Collider will be tweeting about how they knew it would happen all along, and I can't have
Sorry,
that.
who?
Well, they are brilliant.
So Nair Dark, I'm sorry, you're not best racer, you're not best actress this year. I think this is a low C, but likely D.
I would like to point out, however, that Nair Dark's racer has a cool last name. The Cerebus Howler 1165, at least C tier.
Yes, but it looks like we have Gasgano at home. Is the pod racer?
Oh, it
I
looks
completely
like
agree.
ass.
I completely agree with you there.
It looks like ass, but it sounds cool. So I don't know. C tier sounds.
That
sounds
name
alright.
is metal as hell, as the kids say.
I believe
AF.
I believe I will agree with Councillor McCoy. This is a C tier character due to their surprising gender.
Neat.
I just can't. Can I say that that's an ugly green too?
It's just not. There's just look. I just don't.
That looks like if Michael Bay had a transformer.
That's swamp green.
A
Female
transformer, a pod
artists
racer.
should give me an erection, and I am no longer there. Her face looks like an erection. Let's move on.
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. Never mind. This has to be S tier. There is no argument.
I'm
here.
turned on now.
Instant S tier.
This has to be S.
Instant
I'm-
S tier. Instant,
Unless the
instant.
judges is
No
prepared
deliberation.
to use his veto.
No deliberation. Cable, please. You have to veto. This has to be S tier. LB Endicott.
You
is one of the
asked me
greatest-
to use my
Please.
veto
I
for
will use
you.
mine. I will use
You
mine. But
wasted
LB Endicott
yours.
must be.
Can we at
S tier.
least
Instantly.
know
Instantly.
why?
This is how I look shirtless. This is exactly how I look shirtless, and I have
Can
never
confirm.
resonated more.
It is true.
with the-
It is true.
This is
The barrel
This-
chest, the C-section scar. It's all there.
it's just LB Endicott's racer is phenomenal. Look at that design. It looks sharp. It looks. I have never resonated more with a and a Triffian. Is that their names? Let me look up what Ebby Endicott
You
is.
were obsessed with
looks
Triffians
like
in
it-
that
he
one
looks like
episode
if-
of
he
Ionized
looks like if-
Bastards. So
He's a Triffian.
He looks like if Dracula was halfway got caught turning into a chicken and got plucked.
This is like this is
Judge J-Ro, are you actually using your veto on this?
Yes.
And we are moving
Guaranteed. S tier. Ebby Endicott. Yes. Guaranteed.
Woo!
on? And what
Yes.
more needs to be said?
It's one of the most beautiful
All
designs.
right, here
in
we
all
go.
Star
I
Wars.
do want to expand upon Endicott
Please.
for a second. Fascinating
Endicott power.
story. Fascinating story. 4th place at the Boonta Eve in 32 BBY.
Incredible.
Started as a delivery man, right? Fascinating. And then actually turned to stunts. He was a stunt driver.
Oh my God. Did not
And
know
then seeking more thrills was like, you know what? I got to stop doing stunts. I got to go to pod racing. Won championships at a semi-pro level. Solid racer. Traction stats through the roof, pulling off those turns and midair spins.
Yes.
Fascinating driver. I wouldn't personally say S, but I'm comfortable with the court's decision.
I will take that as my one veto for this round. Ebby Endicott, instant S tier. Guaranteed.
What do you think the E stands for in the middle?
Entertainment.
Elixir of life,
Everlong.
Everclear.
He's beautiful. That is one of the
And
most
his game.
beautiful designs.
There's a
It's the
tweet
most-
going around right now that is, when did you first feel represented in media? This is
Oh,
your
this
answer.
is it. This is my current answer. Mr. Cable, Judge Cable, did you put him in the S tier? Beautiful. Look at
Yes,
this.
yes.
Studbolt,
Yes.
Shriveled
Yeah.
Bertrand, and Ebby and Scott S tier. I'm
Shrivel
eager to know-
perhaps sparking arguments at the end. We never know.
We never know. All right, our next racer, Gasgano.
Your Honor, if I
Well,
may, if I
Nikki,
may,
please.
my friends, Gasgano is a galaxy famous racer in the iconic Ord Pedrovia. Look at that stunning
Beautiful.
work of machinery. Now, what I love about Gasgano is he loved to win, and not at the cost of his fellow racers' health and well-being, which I think is a really fascinating point for a pod racer. He was not interested in harming. He liked to beat them on the track fair and square. That is, I think, a quality that should be celebrated. Now, to back up the skill, 2nd place at the Boonta Eve. He kept track with the leaders the whole time. Anakin Skywalker jumped him in a particularly interesting move in a, let's say, unregistered craft that we don't know the specifications on that thing. But
That is
but
true.
the point remains. 2nd place at the Boonta Eve is pretty important. I think another really fascinating thing about Gasgano is the biology of his Zexto species. All right. He has 4 arms, and these 4 arms can operate this pod all at once. Now, what that has resulted in, highest stats for mid-air repairs, which means he's not wasting time going into the pits. He's in the race, flying and fixing. You remember that? You remember the famous incident in the Boonta Eve when Anakin
Classic.
Skywalker's pod just broke off, and he's like, "Ah!" and he's spinning around, right?
Yes,
That doesn't happen with Gasgano because he's got eyes on the prize with 2 arms, and then his other 2 going to work. Can also
Yes.
rub your shoulders and give you a reach around.
Oh my
Now-
lord.
Yeah.
And finger your butthole.
Bonus.
Wow.
So, with that said, I believe Gasgano is a paragon of the sport. I don't have any hills to die on except here. Gasgano has to be S tier.
My lord. This is your
I would
only
also
request.
like to acknowledge that Nikki did defeat Big Chungus because of Gasgano.
True. The game
And I
deciding
respect
question.
it. I will
Game recognized
concede
game.
to S tier.
And also,
Yes.
let us not forget contextually, we keep bringing up Boonta Eve, and it will continue to come up. What is a factor there that has not yet been mentioned? Gentlemen, countrymen, unless you're Nikki, he's French. These racers in the Boon to Eve Classic were bested. Yeah, some of them died. We'll get to that. But who won? Not just a regular boy, a magical boy. You come in second against
To a
someone who's
magical boy.
literally magic? That's basically first.
He could have been disqualified for cheating.
We
Like,
gotta,
in a different, with a different.
They don't let force
governing
sensitives in
association,
casinos.
right?
It's
The different
force
governing
sensitive.
association over pod racing. Anakin Skywalker could have been disqualified for
use of the
using
force.
an ethereal power, right?
Yes.
So it
Look,
is.
he has the right to
Performance-enhancing
practice.
drug.
He has the right to practice. No matter if he needs time to pray before or after a race. Whatever. He has the
Yeah.
right. Just don't bring it on the field.
No, you put
Alright.
that in the locker beforehand.
Exactly. It's just
It's
tainting
an
the
interesting
sport.
argument, but I think I feel very strongly about this, and I hope our friends witnessing this deliberation feel the same.
Dutch Cable, where do you lie with the wonderful character that is Gasgano?
Well, I believe that simply from a standpoint of vehicular safety, Gasgano shows a level of care that no other racer really does. He actually checks his goddamn mirrors. Also, Gasgano was my go-to in the 1999 Pod Racer game.
Yes,
I love
yes.
me some Gasgano. The action figure, one of my favorites. Lost the arms
Yes.
all the time, put them back on. Multiple times, had a lot of fun. Yes, there's another one of his species selling little. I say S tier.
S tier. I think we can all be in agreement that Gasgano is indeed S tier. Now, our S tier, like has been referenced by Mr. Nikhail, it is starting to bubble. We need to make sure these next few, which I believe these next few will,
We gotta make
probably
harder,
not be.
harder choices are about to be made. That is undoubtedly true.
The field
And we
gets
will-
very interesting from here on out. It's gonna be great.
It does. Here we go. Our next one. Lonnie Gibbstra.
Now,
Nikki, what are the stats for Lonnie Gibbstra?
All right. You know what Lonnie is good at? Absolutely nothing. And some might say that's a superpower in its own. But what are we gonna do here? He's low.
Now, I would like to make a few points here.
please do.
Lonnie Gibbstra, as a person, is a piece of shit. He is a racist, a blatant xenophobe. At the slightest minor inconvenience, threatened suicide. However, that is a sick ass pod. First of all,
Yes. A
It's
Rimnical
a little-
overweight.
It's a little edge core to me. You know,
That
Second of all,
Rimnical be hitting.
he was the only pod racer to ever pilot a Remnicore engine. And he had one of the sickest moves I've ever seen in a pod race,
Yes.
in which he whipped his pod around and drove it in reverse to avoid getting shot by some guys on some jetpacks.
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
C tier.
That's some Dom Toretto shit.
he is an interesting character. Now, to look in the archives and find Lonnie Gibbstra's stories, perhaps you won't find many. There is a record of his adventures available on the Hollow Tube. If you
Yes,
know
I'll
where,
find the link. I will find the link for that. Give me one.
yeah, if you know where to look, you can witness. He flew with the crew of the Ionized Bastards in a race that the Bastards did not actually expect to participate in. It was a thrilling tale. It was a motley crew, to say the least. Lonnie was, on the record, because of that incident, responsible for literally freeing Wookiee slaves while racing. And he's gotten a lot of praise for that posthumously.
Interesting.
But those that were there in the years since, he wasn't actually trying to free them. He didn't care. This is a morally
yes.
repugnant piece of shit nerf herder. High out of his mind on death sticks and God knows what else, making people do things at threatening to blast his own brains out with his sidearm, trying to put restraining bolts on other people's droids. He did have that
Terrible,
nice.
man.
that pod though. That pod was nice.
And he did compete
rimmed the
in a
core.
particularly deadly race. The pod race royale was a pod race like no other.
It's true.
Well,
I would think B tier is adequate.
unfortunately, I don't believe that Lonnie is on the official list, but in the list of our hearts, I believe he would go in a B tier.
Amen.
Me too. Let's see. Where is he?
It's not. He's not
No,
there.
actually,
I said he's
he's
not
not.
actually.
Oh, he's
there.
not there. Oh, he's not there. Yes, the S tier of our hearts.
If anyone wants to click that link, make
he's
sure you
here.
go
He's
add it
racist.
to your watch later. It has everything to do with the lore of this character. It's very special. Next one. Oh Jesus! I feel like this is going to be Jerry.
Wait, what tier did we decide on just now?
He's B tier.
Oh, all right, I guess.
Of our hearts.
Yeah.
B for bastard.
Pause. Guo. Color pod rat blue.
I'm gonna need
to behemoth.
You're gonna need some stats here.
Yeah,
I need some convincing to not throw this thing to whatever the bottom tier is immediately.
Here's what's
just
interesting
This
about
This man has a family.
what's funny about Mars
No.
Duo, all right? What's funny
know
about
about this
him,
one.
the most interesting thing is for the longest time he was actually misidentified as a species, and only recently has been confirmed as Bardot.
What?
And
I was going to say he looks Bardotan.
right
Oh.
now, this adds a lot of interesting flavor to him because he was at the Boon to Eve race in 32 BBY, and he was a first timer. And when Foden Bede were shouting his name, there's a Mars Guo here for the first time. Standing in front of him, thinking the applause was for him, is none other than future representative Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks standing in front of Mars Guo, taking his applause.
Oh.
And Mars Guo is like, get out of the way, get out of the way. And this is even more fascinating because he would have found out at some point that same guy is betting his queen.
This is controversial. I have never considered this.
Rising,
And to make matters
rising her
worse,
up good, I believe they say.
Mars Guo is probably one of the people that pushes the, I would say, reductive narrative that Jar Jar is responsible for the Imperial reign. Because that's what it's like to be cut.
got a grudge.
Not just in front of your sportsmen, but
Did
in
he
front of your
survive?
kingdom.
Did he survive the race?
He did
When
survive the
you know-
race. He did have that gnarly crash after taking some sort of debris into his.
Your Honors, can we
engine.
actually establish what is the death toll of Boonta Eve? I think it's important we know this going forward.
I actually do not
I don't
know.
know.
I
It's
think
a little,
it-
it's a little
I think
like
it's
watching
two.
Willy Wonka. What's the death toll on that one? It seems like
I
a
believe
lot of
it's
them.
two.
Most of them.
Rats, obviously.
Yeah,
Rats was certainly dead.
and someone else who's in the list later who's more interesting to talk about then.
Mars Guo may be one of the greatest just cuts in Star Wars. Well, Jerry, you can do it again. I like hearing you do it.
Was that?
The noise.
It's good.
And then
It's good.
he explodes, or his pod explodes.
Yes.
I
One
have
engine
no-
explodes and then the rest goes down. Yes, kind of.
Yes.
He's middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack.
If
I
that's
agree.
B or C, I
My
don't
gut
know.
says
Doesn't
C,
die.
but I'm willing to go up as high as B.
C,
he at
I
least
believe
raced
C.
in the
I think C is
I
just
love
the
that he
right
is
place.
officially. I love that he is officially a Bardotan. Like
Yes.
we got there in the end.
I think we should put him in C, Judge Cable. Would you agree?
Yes. C Mars Guo. C tier. Hammer. C tier.
Hammer.
Will Beatty makes a good point. The death toll is catastrophic, and I must stress this. You must contact me.
Oh, this guy.
I got things
True
to say about this.
delegates.
I'm gonna
We got-
let
We got
Nikki
things to say here.
I'm gonna let Nikki lead, but I just want to say
He's got a story.
Clegg Holdfast is not down with the homies. Clegg Holdfast is an uppity bitch.
Man wears his medals.
Pod racer is called the Wasp.
He wears
For fuck's sake.
he wears his medals during the race. You know how many medals Sebulba has? You know how many he wears? Not a damn one. All right, this guy has like, oh, I won 3 races. I'm gonna wear them on my chest. Nobody likes this guy. All right,
Truly,
You know,
he is the Jared of the Boon to Eve.
This is
Oh,
very
oh,
true. This
true.
is
That's
very
very
true.
This is
Yes,
Jared.
dear.
he's got a list
This-
of haters longer than Jared's Sheets receipt. All right,
Uh,
this guy.
Oh, damn.
What's fascinating? What is truly fascinating about Clegg Holdfast's ridiculousness is he's a journalist, and he's actually considered a better journalist than he is a pod racer. And what is even weirder about this journalism is that it's yellow journalism. It's tabloid bullshit. All right, he at the beginning of the Boon to Eve, he was letting his mechanics fix his pod while he went to the cantina to get dirt on all the other racers.
What an asshole.
You know, he is tabloid gossip trash. All right. And this guy is DT. He doesn't even have good stats. It's unimpressive across the board. All right. He's a medal wearing uppity loser. And he is D tier once today, twice on every tongues day, man.
I believe we are all in complete
yeah.
agreement.
Fuck Clegg Holdfast. Hashtag fuck Clegg Holdfast.
Dab
I
it.
agree.
Clegg
D tier.
Holdfast.
Get
Clegg
him out.
Holdfast. Cancelled.
Yeah, we're canceling Clegg
Hashtag cancel Clegg Holdfast.
Holdfast. This guy. Wait, hold on. Bring him back up. We're not done. Bring him back up.
I'm bringing it back up. Give me a moment. There he is.
I got more shit to say about this guy. This is the type of guy. This is the type of
Get him in. Get him in.
Let me tell you, this is gonna sound like it's not related, but it is. Back when I was in high school, I was friends with these people, right? And I still kind of am. And their father was such a pompous fucking asshole.
Yes.
And this guy, one day I slept over at their house, right? It's Sunday, all time to go home, do your homework. We're having breakfast. Their father comes down with a towel around his neck, looking like he'd just been training, even though this guy definitely did not train. And you know what he says? He goes, "Hi, good morning. I was on the treadmill and I was gonna do 3 miles, and by the time I got to 4, I figured, why not go for 5?" That's Clegg Holdfast. That is Clegg Holdfast, and that is a true story on my life. On my
And that is
dog's
why
life.
we should hashtag cancel Clegg Holdfast.
Clegg
You know,
Holdfast-
Was
He's had it too good for too
Holdfast
long.
Clegg Holdfast heard about Anakin Skywalker entering the Boon to Eve Classic, and he said he has the right to do that. They let them do that. Like
He gave them those rights? What?
My thing is, you can tell just by how he stands and composes himself, he is not a generous lover. He is a selfish lover.
certainly not.
Certainly, he
No,
would not eat
no.
ass or pussy.
No.
It's just not a
Said-
chance.
Never heard
He
of the
just
clitoris.
wouldn't.
No.
Jerry, put Clegg Holdfast in the lowest of
Clegg
tiers, please.
Holdfast is confirmed a 2-pump chump.
Yes. All right, moving
Oh,
on.
Clegg
I'm glad
Holdfast.
we could
Banished.
banished. Goodbye,
Banished to the
swine.
D tier. Enjoy your lunch with Lays.
Oh, half moth with a good one to finish him off.
What did Huffmoth say?
2 things he's never found: the clitoris and the finish line.
Our next one. Now, this one has a very interesting story, and Nikki may know, but this is the only character in the sequel trilogy or Disney era that is a pod racer and is mentioned that he's a pod racer on Jakku.
It's true.
Only one.
Interesting.
Naka It.
Name
Naka's
sounds like a
great.
slur, but
Naka's great for the sole reason of saving my hero Podrace
That's
from
true.
Jakku. Now, Naka as a pod racer, there's very little evidence that Naka does anything of note. So
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it. Solid C.
We have no information on their pod. We just know that it's the only one in the Disney era of Star Wars, much like midi-chlorians, that have been shafted to the side in terms of characters. Besides Bad Batch's weird little bicycle race. This character, I believe, in all honesty, also does go in some sort of C or D tier. Anyone else have any deliberations on
C tier?
Naka?
I don't think it does anything offensive to belong in the D tier, and therefore it's a very middling C tier, simply due to lack of information.
Yeah, I think D is harsh for rescuing a member of the resistance, a pivotal member of the resistance, and so here we go.
C tier.
Very well.
C tier. C tier. Determine.
C tier.
Naka it. Very good. This next one is going to be interesting. Neva Key.
Man, Neva Key.
I like the cut of this guy's jib. I like his look.
Also, you're gonna love this guy. You're gonna love this guy. He's a legend.
It's a Far 1 and Glot 8T8 twin block 2 special pod racer.
Twin block.
I like the one thing I will say before we go into the story of this character Neva Key. My favorite is that the pod is reversed, where the thrusters are behind them and the actual chassis of the vehicle is in front.
This dumbass built his pod backwards.
I like that, but it looks dangerous too.
Yeah, it's got some edge to it, which is fascinating because Neva Key is a legend on the circuit actually, because you were asking about Boon to Eve fatalities. Now Neva Key is considered one of them because on the second lap, Neva Key straight up disappeared.
Hold on.
Nobody knows.
You want to run that one by me again?
Do you think it's because they got shot at? Like,
Hold on,
did he
there's a lot of
Did he
speculation.
just fuck off into the desert?
There's a lot of speculation. Apparently, Neva Key went looking for a shortcut, so Neva Key's also kind of a cheater. Now, apparently, this is highly disputed. I worry myself saying this out loud in a court of law.
Yes,
there is some evidence that Jabba the Hutt was seen paying Aura Singh close to a crash site at the Boon to Eve, which indicates Neva Key might have been a hit, or Neva Key's still out there. We don't know. The Battle of Excal could be going on, and Neva Key's still going in circles around, this track. We don't know.
Or is it possible that Neva Key was abducted by aliens?
Yeah.
I also think something has been brought up in the comments that hasn't been brought up yet. I don't know if it will be again. Bring up Brian Fry's comment, please.
This one, the ship one.
That's just a ship. Shouldn't count as a pod. What do you feel about that? Because it does abandon the chariot stylings.
It
It's
looks
not
a
being
bit like a
pulled.
quad jumper.
Yes, it does look like a quad.
I don't know if
jumper.
Neva Key
An
does
interesting
Neva Key
distinction.
break. Does it break our? Because then again, if that's a pod, then where are the riot racing pods? And why isn't Quick Draw Quasar here?
I don't know what that is or who that is.
It's true. You might think Neva Key is better as a riot racer. Now, unfortunately, we are at the whim of the governing agency for the Pod Racing Commission, and they cleared the vehicle. So maybe this is part of the conspiracy. We don't know. The fact of the matter is, no one knows where Neva Key is.
This is
Why aren't we? We need to get on making the Unsolved Mysteries episode about this.
This
now.
this is a
could be a whole
fascinating
stream.
story I never knew existed,
Bombadcast
and
special.
that alone is enough to bring this character to A or B tier.
He's a legend.
B tier.
B is very comfortable, I think, because a legend by what you maybe didn't do is a little bit of a different kind of achievement. But I mean, first of all, look at him. He looks like a mogwai that got fed after midnight. He's got a great look. He's got look at his little.
He's got Watto's body.
His froggy feet, hands. I'm all about this guy. You know that when he talks, he probably sounds like I don't know, Smeagol or something. Like he's probably like sounds like he's like Smeagol, but from like Queens or something. Like
He looks like a gremlin and a velociraptor. Like got it on.
yeah.
That's what he looks like.
I like this dude. I like it. Something about him I like, and I want to believe that he's out there. Maybe he'll be in Sharmino Benchino's movie.
Incredible. That would be the
Daisy
most
Ridley
wild.
Heard about him.
Daisy, where's
He's
Nina?
like, I've
cool as
heard.
shit.
That's cool as shit. the whole movie's about finding Nifa Key.
Neva Key is the well.
You
key to
know
all
that
this.
Neva Key disappeared from.
Imagine
Look, all we're
Daisy
saying,
Ridley being
Lucasfilm,
like, I've
Lucasfilm.
heard stories about Neva
Oh.
Key.
Yeah.
I would
I
say
have dreams.
be
Yeah, I knew him.
And then like Ghost Adam Driver's like, I see Neva. I see Neva Key.
All right.
Oh, I see the shortcut.
I think the stage like
I see
he's
what
gonna be
you're
like,
saying.
hey, just come find me later. Just come find me later. It's fine.
oh,
If you him
let's
as
do
the
B
pod
tier.
racer you never had, he would have disappointed you.
It goes all the way to the top, man. All the way to the top.
B tier for Neva Key, Mr. Cable. Judge Cable,
Me
please.
too for Neva Key.
I think also think
Fascinating.
Neva Key, at least so far, there's plenty more to go, but so far Neva Key is the contender for a special honor that I think we'll do on the side, which is which of these is the most George Lucas. And I think
That's
Neva
not-
Key is very up there.
100%. Our next one, Elon Musk or
Oh
Carnell.
God!
The
That's a
Kurt Ob KRT 410C.
Get this pickle out of my sight.
I like the pod design alone. I like that it's like a little, some sort of, I guess you could say, rounded pod that they're placed in with like another weird little attachment, like a little bitch vehicle to the side.
It's like having a side pod, but nobody wants to sit in it because you suck.
Yeah, Neva Key looks like they'd give a fantastic blowjob, but would smell terrible.
This thing looks like Cyril Karn's mom if she was an
Oh
ugly
my
alien.
God, that's a very accurate depiction. Yes, look at the fingernails.
Let me
I
tell you
don't-
something. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk because, like, so his whole story. I won't go too deep. It's a revenge story. Aldarbito killed his dad. All right, so Elon Musk is actually named Cam Nail and changes his name rather stupidly in order to track Aldarbito through the circuits and bring justice. All right, so that's interesting.
Wow.
But
That's interesting.
it's not what you want to see in the sport. All right, it casts ill repute upon the whole thing. I believe he gets caught later. Beto gets caught later. The authorities are all over the place. It's just not a great look. We don't love to see it, So for that reason, I think he's a D.
I concur.
I'm gonna say right now, ever since Elon Musk bought X, I've been getting so many bots in my mentions, and for that reason, fuck them. D tier.
D tier.
Yes,
Judge
you did
Cable.
make a big deal about it. Get it? Big deal. Yeah, right.
Yes,
I would
very good.
lower him to D- just
Fine.
for that.
D.
D tier. Elon Musk, calm nail.
Get him out of here.
Come.
He doesn't.
Get
He
him outta
doesn't
here.
have the
Outta here.
charm of Aldarbito's racing acumen.
No.
So he's just got to go to the bottom.
Nor
Get
does
out
he
of the
give
B
hope
tier,
to
you
marginalized
bastard.
voices.
Like Triple
Ozzy.
Braytrend.
Yeah, like triple.
All right, our next one, Judge Cable. Can you read this one?
Yes.
All right.
Ori Medrell. The Exobrook XL 5115.
I
There you go.
love that name.
Yes.
I love
Mandra.
I love the visor. I had a figure of this gentleman.
Yes, me too.
I've
Yes.
always found
Might
this
as
to
well.
be a tip-top, respectable guy. Now, maybe he's a heinous criminal. I just don't know his backstory. But I look at this guy, and he's like the Chris Evans of pod racing. This guy,
That's the Chris.
this has like Steve
the
Rock.
jawline.
I would have gone
He's
with a
got
different
the
Chris.
jawline.
There is actually a racer who is considered hot, and it's not Odie. in the galaxy,
we've
he's
been over
considered
this.
high. And it's unfortunately not Odie, but it's a funny point.
Odie, Odie, I don't know what I think of Odie. Odie definitely would rat on you. Odie was in the ROTC program and will rat on you for smoking.
Odie just seems so middle of the road and unremarkable to me. Unless Nikki can provide some stellar stats or interesting facts, then I would say B tier.
I would agree, Mike.
Gotta call him a glorified hall monitor.
Just look at that face.
Look, I like Odie.
He kind of looks like a guy that I just started listening to his podcast, and he's really going to like make sure that I listen to every episode. You know,
I like Odie enough. He's a decent racer. The problem is he's vastly overrated. His success is built off the success of his pit crew, which is record setting. But now you have to look at the top, because what happened in the Boon to Eve, right? Fighting pit crew droid through the engine, right? Now you got to look at the top of the tree here for that kind of mistake in a record setting pit crew. All right. And Odie Mandrell is bad tempered. He's shouting at him. I just don't like it. I don't like that aspect of his game, you know. And I think he's in over his head. I think he's racing at circuits that are better than his skill. And for that reason, I think a B.
B tier.
B tier.
B tier.
That sounds very, very sufficient.
B tier. Determined. B tier. Odie Mandrell. B tier.
Woody Mandrell, B tier.
Odie Mandrell. Moving on to our next racer, one that I'm particularly excited for. Mahonic.
Mahonic.
Perhaps the
Great
most
design.
relaxed racer based on his
Posture.
choice of seat.
Feet
You
up.
do seem to be vibing.
There's an interesting trivia bit somewhere. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like the Mahonic character was supposed to be someone else. Like I think they meant to like make him another character, but they just had him and they're like, okay, we'll just
Like it wasn't supposed to be this species. Like this was a costume for something else.
I could be totally wrong. Something is like it's either the species or the character itself. Like he was supposed to be Sebulba or something. I don't know.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. Something's in my head ringing at that though.
I will say the colors are very 90s. I like the colors a lot. That's my.
I like the colors. I like his seat and his little pod he's got. And I just like the name Mahonic. There's something about it phonetically that appeals to me. And I would say this is an A tier.
What's interesting about Mahonic is he started the Boon to Eve, this fabled Boon to Eve that we continually reference. He started that in pole position, which means he must have had one heck of a quality lap or something. But I don't know how he got there personally. I don't think he's stronger than any of these. We've already discussed Dud Bolt was a favorite over this guy. It's like Mahonic solid, but he somehow fluked a pole position and then lost it rather easily to Sebulba. So I think he's okay. I think A might be a little generous, but I think it can
B. I would say B.
work.
In the pro column, a whole generation of young readers grew up to love books because they were hooked on Mahonics. Thank you. Thank you. That was
Agreed.
a phonics joke.
Contempt.
Recess. I believe B tier is suitable. Wouldn't we all agree? B tier.
That is fair.
I have to
from
say, I've always loved I've loved the Gran as a species. I think they're very just aesthetically pleasing. I think they've always been really cool. I also love that it looks like you. I love you saying that it has 90s colors because he looks like he is flying a pod with 2 bottles of Vault energy soda on the front.
Yes.
So or Surge.
Mahonic is the Phantom Menace character that I am most positive had Phantom Menace tie-in cups and things of that nature.
Most
I think he was on Diet Pepsi.
Was
on the
he
Diet
really?
Pepsi kit. No,
Mahonic actually invented
He
Monster.
is not on any of them.
Look, all I'm saying with Mahonic, it's like, as a racing fan, you don't want to see an easy battle for first, right? You want to see some some real racing, and Mohanic gave up too easily.
Yes.
Mm.
He just did. He just didn't have what it takes, you know? This one.
No, I can't. Nope.
This is one of the ugliest things I've ever witnessed. I like the pod design. The pod design looks like a
It looks
vape.
like someone shat out a full turnip.
Unless Nikki has some important things to say, I think we can just throw this in D tier.
I
and
think
move on.
D would be harsh. D might be harsh just because Navior is considered often to be the most honest pro in the whole game.
Oh, is it?
Right. And
Okay.
that's interesting.
With a face like
Super
that.
speedy. Air brake stats are real high for all sorts of mid-air maneuvers that are very interesting.
Yes.
An honest pro. I think D is rough, but I think anything over B is a little extravagant.
What do we think Navier saw to give him that facial expression?
A mirror.
Neva Key getting off.
Navier knows where Neva Key is, but can't quite articulate it.
No.
The trauma is too much.
Yes, yeah, he saw.
Yeah, I think we should let our judges weigh in on whether he goes to C or D. That's
I would
the territory.
say C. I love the pod. I love the pod itself. Looks like some sort of weird, like it looks like a look down. It looks like some sort of the actual thing he sits in. It looks a little sexual. It looks like some sort of harness, like some sort of like
Yeah, it looks he gets
Like sex
gratification out of the bouncing and the all of that. Yes.
and we don't know if that's hair or some sort of appendage. It could
No
be
one
his
knows.
penis.
It's a giant
penis.
exposed nerve, and if you grab it, he will scream and die.
Well, you
Wow.
can tell by his face that there's evident.
Yeah.
It does keep balance. I believe Navor. I believe this person should be a C tier. C tier, not D, because I do appreciate the fear. You know, there's a fear there that feels
Yes.
very nice.
C tier.
my ally.
C tier. Our next one. This next
He
one.
doesn't have to go to jail for being ugly, So it's
Okay, Michael. I feel like you have strong feelings about Kraid Nemeso.
There's a Michael guy.
C tier.
Oh, C tier.
Michael guy.
This
I
brother
don't
ugly.
like.
I
I
can't
just don't like the
explain why.
pods.
I can't explain why, but I trust him. Do you guys get that at all? I
There's
think
something
it's
about
that
the eyes that are a little trustworthy.
He's
think
got
it's-
meat
you're-
energy.
Michael, you're
He looks
actually
like Meek.
yes. Looks like Meek from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Michael nailed it with the eyes. His eyes give me, they say they're the windows to the soul, and like the fishy quality makes me think of Nemo, or like the feeling of being a kid and getting a goldfish for the first time. Like
There's a curiosity and a wide-eyed eagerness to see the world that you.
I feel
can
like
kinda
I feel
see.
like Kraid is young. Kraid might be not as young as Anakin, but this is someone with hope. I hope he didn't die or disappear. Anyone?
He's got implements of torture on his gauntlet or something there. I don't know what's going on with those gauntlets.
I-
He's
I-
just
That's for his asthma.
I wonder. It doesn't look like a very good Star Wars design to me personally. This is not something that would be approved by the art department at least to me by Doug.
It would
Chiang,
depend on
unfortunately.
how it was brought to life. This I think could be this guy could be walking around on Trask.
George
Eating-
Lucas would pick
eating
him up and be
chowder.
like, "He's a singer now."
He's a singer
yeah.
now.
This one's an accountant.
I
He wouldn't have stayed a razor under
Kraid
George's eyes.
belongs in the C tier. He is fine. He is inoffensive. Not the best design. And while there
Yes.
is a trustworthiness to the eyes, meh.
See, I think it's fine. I'd love to see him climb the ranks. I would love to see this guy get
Maybe he's got to prove
Get
more in
more
future
shine.
seasons.
yeah
Exactly.
promising
I think
career.
He's green.
Very
Yes.
green, just like his pod. I think C tier is justifiable. C tier for
Yeah.
C tier for the refugee from a direct to DVD Men in Black sequel.
Our next one we should deliberate upon. Thank you everyone in the chat for
I
joining.
I forgot that one's name already. What was his
Oh,
name?
Kraid was like
Kraid.
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 Kraid,
Jared's
that's
favorite
right.
Sith, Darth Kraid.
This one. This one I actually-
I love this dude.
I
I
love
kind of
this
love
dude.
him too.
This is.
I think this is A.
This is. He's got slides on.
He's
I love.
flip-flop.
He's wearing the
I
he's
just
wearing
love
the
his little
Crocs.
teeth.
He's got croc
He's wearing the
flip-flop
Crocs.
combos.
There's. You can tell that this is someone that you would give, your money to, and they would give you money back.
He also has to
later.
race fully submerged underwater.
Yes, look, you can see there is a
Yep.
tank.
That
That's
incredible.
fascinating. I love the design.
That paint job is bitching.
I think
Where
I
do
think
we
he
know-
speaks well. He
Say that.
speaks well to the diversity of the sport. I think it's
Where do we
It's an
know
honorable
this
move
gentleman
to go
from?
high.
He's not in a
Yeah.
game.
No, he believe
He
he is in. He is
Oh,
in
he is
the
in a game.
Racer's Revenge game, but I could not.
he's in
yes,
Star Wars
correct.
Outlaws, man.
He's an outlaw. Oh shit, dude! I would mark.
That's a scoop.
Yeah, I love the design. I love what he brings to the game, the unique perspective. I love his little teeth.
He's wearing just a cod piece as well, a cod piece and a chest piece.
He's got chest armor.
I just
but
don't
he
want
wants
to
you
see him from
them
behind.
teeth. And look at how
Hey, so
far
yeah,
on the
there's
side of his
definitely-
head his
That
eyes are.
ass is out.
Yes,
That
he was
ass
definitely
is
a
all
prey.
out back there.
Mhm.
He was definitely a prey. I do chaps. He's got chaps on pretty much. And I also do want to bring up there seems to be an aesthetic to this character that has not been seen in terms of their pod. I'm sorry. I love that their engines are like very thin and they've got like a little hole at the top and like a slit in the middle. It just feels like it'd go very fast. Like it's optimized for speed. And I do love that it seems to be an aquatic tank they have to submerge themselves in to able to use their pod. It's fascinating to me.
I think it's just such a cool design. A tier.
It really is.
Yeah.
And for a game that's terrible, I agree. We're gonna put him in A tier.
Fuck
A
you.
tier, gentlemen. Do we
tier.
deliver A tier?
A tier.
A tier.
I think that's fair.
fantastic. We're looking at
Okay,
Oko 9 bar. Cool name too. Oko 9 bar would have sold me drugs in college. Let's see.
Nice.
At least their name, somewhat the
9
name of
bar
Oko
on ya.
number. Our next one, my least favorite of the pod races.
I love this guy.
No interest. Looks scared.
Least favorite.
I
just
love
don't
him.
like him. Pod design is excellent. I love the pod design, but the overall look just reminds me of Jared. I don't know why.
Well, this is the thing. We were talking about the Chris Evans of the pod racing track. Team
No.
Topalist is considered the
Really?
handsome guy. He's handsome.
Sexual
He's charming.
god.
He's flamboyant. He's a good racer. The pod design is excellent. He
He's top
survived.
tier.
He survived
Love
the
the
boon
end.
to the race. He did get shot at by Tuscans, which I think is some sort of flag on the play, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's such a key member of that 32 BBY Bunta squad. He's got to be A. He's got to be like lower A. I think B is
think's
too harsh
great.
for this guy.
He gives me the inverse vibe of Clegg Holdfast. This is like
Well, this is a
This-
man of the land.
this is who Clegg Holdfast wishes he was.
Yeah, this is Clegg. If he had the charm, he thinks he does.
Yep.
Yes.
Everybody
Yep.
likes Team Toe. Everybody except Scotty, but everybody wants to
don't-
be on his team. He's a likable guy. He's not the most doesn't get the wins like the other guys, but he's a great kind of upper middle of the pack racer. So I think he's a service to the sport, I say.
I will not disagree with the attorneys here in this court of honor. I do want to mention it is the best design. I love that he has no direct view of the thing he is actually piloting. I love that he has that little he maybe has a camera on some capacity. I don't know.
While I'm not the biggest fan of
General Grievous's
his-
wheel bike before General Grievous's wheel bike.
Yes.
of, yeah.
Bitch stole his look.
Yes.
I don't think Team Toe has the best look as an individual, but I love the way his pod looks, and I think Nikki made some excellent points in regards to his importance to the race itself and the sport as a whole. I would be comfortable with A tier. However, my personal take is B tier.
Also,
I think
look at-
also
look at-
we all remember the sound his pod makes when it spins off. Right?
Yes.
And
And look at the arms, man. Look at the
Iconic.
arms. Look at the sleeveless, but like with some armor on the thing.
He's also got a tail. We love tails, man.
Yeah,
He does have a tail.
He's a
That's
dinosaur.
right.
Tails are hot. Tails are hot.
Very 90s. Very
He's a
90s.
beefcake.
Well, I think we should all agree that Team Toe, I think we can all agree that he is indeed a tier character. I have no preference. But I think A tier is fair.
I believe it is the
Satisfactory.
I believe the A tier is fair and also wood.
What about your wood?
He's got
A
one.
tier. Team Toe.
Mm.
Let's see.
Wood.
Team Toe, A tier. Wonderful. Okay. Let us now move on to. We only have a few more left after this. This one. I couldn't find any good images of Slide. But I like that he has a Pfizer Aerol stinger. I like that he's vaccinated.
A lot of people don't know that
C
the paramitas, they live close to the barantas back in the motherland.
And the
you know,
margaretis.
Margarete and the cocos. The
They had to change
Pizer
it to
Aerol.
Armedo when they got
I
to,
don't
Ellis
forget
Island,
to
actually.
take your Pizer Aerol boosters
Yes.
before you travel. Yeah, I got nothing on this guy.
Neither do I. There's no. I do like that his
a mouse
pod.
covered in cheese.
It looks like a child designed the pod. It's just very nonchalant. It's not a very
Slide's inoffensive, but unspectacular. C written all over it.
C.
Big
Let's do
agree.
C tier. Instant C. I don't. There's no reason to have any discourse on Slide. C tier for Slide. Determined.
Stay the discourse.
our fastest one yet. Slide. Paramita. Very good. All right. Our next one. I feel. Yes.
Okay, hear me out. hear me out on this guy.
A bald chinny.
I want to hear you out, Nikki, because I might have a hot take on this one.
So influential that Han Solo and Leia Organa named their son after him.
Unbeknownst to
All
Leia,
right.
but yes, they did.
Yes.
All right. Look, Benny Q.
All face.
He shouldn't be here. He is timid as a racer. He's inexperienced, but he also look. You can race. You can play the sport on the track. You can also play it in your head. All right. And
Like
what
Gran Turismo.
Ben Quadraneros does is he's known for only signing up for easy races, because then he just stat pads. Like it's a genius move for his record, because he doesn't do the challenging things. I believe there's a rumor that he was actually someone made a bet with him that he's too cowardly to do the Boonta Eve, and he took him up on that bet. And even though we know what happened to him, but he entered, and I think still won the money. So this guy's playing a different game. You may think he's silly. You may think he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's
playing a
racing.
game.
He's racing life. He's creating a myth. He's creating a legend for himself.
Yeah.
He's creating a legend, even though he doesn't really have the punch to back any of it up or the wins. He's the Jared of pod
And
racing.
he surely gets better, right? Because we know Anakin Skywalker has a Ben Quadraneros versus Sebulba poster in his room in the Jedi Temple.
Mm.
So Benny Q, he gets to the top at some point.
There's very few things I would ask
Ben
Dave.
Quadraneros,
That'd be it. Why does he have did Ben Quadraneros get better? I agree. And I also agree with Brian. Kawata!
Now
He's stupid and silly and funny, and he make me laugh. A tier.
Here's the thing also that I don't think this changes judgment either way, but I gotta know, is Ben Quadraneros the peak of
Male physique?
maybe not
Yes.
the peak of prequel designs, but the peak of the conversation of like the things that ride the line of looking Star Wars and not looking Star Wars? Like
Yeah.
I feel like there are like
Mhm.
this is when people talk about George deviated from the aesthetic too much in the prequels. This is either your example that the weird works or your example that the weird does not work.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Imagine one of these as like a Jedi Knight. You can't.
No. But they make great miners. I think. Is that what they are in?
They yearn
the-
for the
Yes,
mine.
that is yes.
They're in the
They work for the
Marquez
mining
Sisters
guild.
episodes, right?
Yes, yes, they are.
I think we can all agree that this is an A tier character. Is that fair?
I
Yes.
concur.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Judge
also a
Cable, do you
blast.
agree?
Quaterneros.
When you
Big
unlock him in the
Quaterneros
99 game, it's beautiful.
Yes, he seems
A
like
tier.
he is not very brave, but he's got balls. I mean, chin. He's got whatever he's got there. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. We're looking good. We're looking good.
Is it A tier? You said?
A tier.
Correct.
All right, our next one we shall deliberate upon. Jin Riso.
From Rogue One.
I have nothing. I have
S tier.
I have nothing remarkable to say about this character,
It's a cool
except
name for the
fact-
pod.
yes, I just the eyes are interesting. The name is no name, and then a great name. But the fact that they're wearing goggles, I like that. It's mysterious.
I just kind of like the pod design. I don't really have much thoughts about the rest of him. B tier.
There's a mystique, but I also think that B or C is where we're going to come down on it. Is that game the only appearance of Riso?
Yes. The only
Probably not a lot to work on then. I mean, like Riso, like a lot of things in Star Wars, is defined by your personal experience. And if nobody in this court has a personal experience with Jin Riso, then why are we wasting our time?
C
A
tier.
just question, my liege.
C tier. Judge Cable. Do you agree?
Indeed.
Judge Cable. C tier.
C
Jin Riso.
Will.
Oh, let's move on now. Back to our selection of pods. Bull's Roar. This is the best name. This is the best name. Bin Gassy Racing Engines Quadri-Jet 4-barrel 94E. Just a cool design too. I like that it's like nipples.
Looks like someone shaved a Mankey.
Both he and his pod are a cool watch from behind.
That's true because it's like there's like a quad engine,
Yeah,
right?
you get some good shots of it in the documentary they did in '99.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I like Bull's Roar actually. I think he's got a lot of Fernando Alonso vibes. Long-time champion, not won it for a long time. He's old. He actually does retire, as Michael knows. He gave Shrivel his pod, so he's almost out of the game. More or less is. I think he's like upper B. I think A is maybe a little too generous, but I think a nice B for Bulls.
B is right
Yeah.
about where he belongs.
Bulls looks like Willem Dafoe, and that's the best compliment that I can give. So-
That's actually just a
he's
picture of
gay,
Willem
and
Dafoe
he's got
in
a-
the lighthouse.
He's got a wonderful connection to classical music.
No one's just
What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
It was all for you, Harry.
Finish it.
He has that iconic quote before he gets on the track where he says, "I'm going to rectify certain inequities."
I will say though, I like that the pod looks like a firm pair of breasts. Look at that. Like,
Yes.
you know,
Me like this.
Bull's Roar, B tier. Bull's Roar,
B tier?
B tier, B for breast. All right, moving on to the next one. Oh, Awkward.
This is actually the best pod racer name.
I love that
The fuck off, Strood.
yes, the jerk off Strood plug G927.
I
Cool
think this is
design.
a solid A tier. This is such a unique pod design.
Yes.
He looks weird and silly, and he's got a cool name.
His pod engines remind me of the guitar dude in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh my
It's
god!
just like
Yes,
those
his
big,
hands.
like,
Warrior.
thing.
Wow.
I think he's got good vibes.
A?
A.
I'm
I think A's
comfortable with
fun.
that. Yeah.
A's fun and
I'm-
fair.
A is fun and fair. A tier, Mr. Cable.
A tier.
Ruse.
Still got some big names left on the board.
We're moving.
Now this one I had no
Fascinating.
idea existed. Pugwis, Sebulba's grandson.
I'm gonna need a
There's
source
only-
on this one.
This is real. This is legends, but Pugwis is the grandson of Sebulba.
Man,
From
fuck
whence
this Nepo
did he
baby.
come?
No, see, I think Pugwis is good. Pugwis is good, and that's what's fun about this sport. They say talent skips a generation, and that's gonna work out good for him, and gonna be interesting for some other guys we see. But yeah, like I think Pugwis kind of came back and redeemed a lot of what people felt was missing after Sebulba's races ended. I think he's no more than a B, but I think he's a respectable B.
Okay.
I like his name, Pugwis. I just like to say that. It sounds fun.
It's
Pugwis.
one word. It's like Sebulba. Like there's no
Pugwis.
nothing else
So
to follow with it.
Bulba and Pugwis,
There's
much
Pugwis
like,
all over the
much
bathroom
like
floor.
Prince and
Oh.
Cher and Zendaya.
He brought
So-
androgyny back
And
into
Palpatine.
Yes.
pod racing.
Yes. Yeah.
I like
it's
Hey,
Pugwis.
is this Miss Taylor's legendary Sebulba Fett?
Sebulba Fett.
Where?
Rawr. I think it's gonna be a.
This is
I think a
Pugwis.
B tier.
B tier.
B tier. B tier. B tier, Mr. Cable.
B,
Solid
yeah.
B.
B tier, Judge
B
Cable.
tier.
Pugwis. Alrighty, our next one. There's some lore to this that Nikki may be aware
I
of.
can't-
This is perplexing.
I can't with this. I
Looks like
can't.
this looks like the Grinch's aunt.
This is the Grinch after one too many plastic surgeries.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
One
Looking like a fucking
Sadosh
Dragon
Senior.
Tales reject. Remember Zack and Wheezy from Dragon Tales? This is like their incest baby.
Turbo
Some celery.
One sandwich. Like
Look,
it
again-
just sounds so untrustworthy.
Again, man,
Senior.
they say talent. They say talent skips a generation, so we don't know. But we don't know
Where
if
the
he's the
talent
talented
lie in this family.
one. Which one was killed? The
Please,
Masters of the Apprentice.
Mr.
Like we don't know. We
Mr.
don't
Wan
know.
Sandwich was my father.
And Elsa
I think
Northernova.
for safety's sake, he's a solid C.
I just
I
love the
agree.
idea of like them being like, yeah, hey George, this is a character called Wan Sandage, and George being like, it's actually Wan Sandage's father. You have to add a senior.
You're not ready for the next one.
Senior on there.
Let's do this. The we say C tier.
Where? C tier.
C tier.
You are not ready
Fuck
for
it,
this next
C tier.
one.
Yeah.
And this is the next one. This is all real.
Bahu
This is a
Dore. Bahu Dore.
I
I think we have
upon-
to judge him by the caliber of his family and throw him in C tier too.
I agree,
I-
and I also want to add, upon seeing the images, I think Senior was the talented one.
Baby celery. There is a notable difference. Look.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What did his
The
mom
second
have?
Yeah,
Junior
you
looks
can
like he
still see-
belongs in Halloween Town's garbage disposal.
I feel that.
Halloween Town's
I feel
garbage
that.
disposal.
This was a
Alright.
real difference. There is a junior and a senior. So C tier for Juan Sandage.
Yeah. Get him out of here.
The C tier, please, Judge Cable. This is incredible.
Respect my station.
Our next one. Fud Stang.
Oh,
That sounds like
my
a
God.
slur.
Repugnant. Look at it.
Bizarre.
Look at
Convicted
it.
felon.
that is true. I know this one's lore. Convicted.
As opposed to Toy Dampener, this guy is actually a prisoner.
Prisoner, yeah.
Why he's allowed to race, I don't actually know. Maybe he's only allowed to race on the circuit that's the prison.
Why does he look like George Lopez's character in Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
There's something there.
Not wrong.
Does he not look like Mr.
You boyd
Electric?
eyes.
Yeah, I'm no Fud saying fan.
I like a tri-ram. That's the only thing I like about
I
this
like
whole
his
image.
name.
Tri-ram.
I like
Yes.
Fud saying. He
Yeah.
looks like the name fits.
The highest
name
Fud
The
saying
name
is
has
getting.
never fit a character more perfectly.
Highest he's getting
Fud
is D
saying.
tier.
D
Like,
tier.
right? Like
I
you
think-
can't get this man in B or higher.
I think his pod has a really unique color scheme, and that's worth pointing out. But otherwise, I think C tier is very apt.
C tier. Judge Cable, do you agree?
Yeah.
Would you want to have a
Yes, quite
beer with
D
Fud
tier.
saying? No.
No. Fud saying would be the person
No, he
that
would
walks
get
into the convenience
detritus
store.
in my beer.
Yes, Fud saying would walk into the convenience store and I would walk out. Like I don't.
Yes.
He's gonna shoot up the place.
The store is no
I'm saying
longer
it's C
convenient
tier.
when Fud Sang walks in.
Fud saying.
You're letting all the
we
Fud
say
sayings
D
into the
tier or C
neighborhood,
tier?
C.
C tier. Definitely not D.
C tier. We're not sending him to jail.
The name.
Okay.
The
Never
name.
mind.
He's got some racing acumen, you know.
Yeah.
Our next one. Oh, instant S tier.
Oh.
S tier.
All
No,
right.
no,
Yeah.
nothing necessary.
I do think Sebulba's a pretty instant S. If anyone has anything they want to say about him, any stories, anecdotes, factoids.
Nothing to take away from the S tier ranking, though I think there will be amongst the community a discussion about us maybe glossing over his more nefarious acts of sabotage. And
That's why
murder.
he goes in S tier.
Beating up a
Oh, he's-
child days
Being
before
a
the
child.
race.
But you cannot deny the man's greatness. You know, as Formula One journalist Will Buxton says, you know, the key to racing a lot of the times is knowing when to unleash your inner bastard, and nobody does that better than Sebulba.
What a bastard he
And also,
is.
like, Nikki, I'm not sure if you have this history on hand or in your deep knowledge banks. Sebulba, the implication was never he was a cheating rat bastard his whole career. He was the real deal.
Yes.
Oh,
but
he can
but
back it up 100%.
But he would cheat. He would cheat situationally. But
Yes.
like his
Yeah.
career was built on skill.
I think that's fair to say. I think you can, you know, again, his detractors he's gonna have haters, right? You know, you got Anakin stands who will hate this guy forever.
I would
but-
just like to say that the Dugs as a species are a tremendous design.
They're cool,
Yes.
man.
Maybe
They're cool.
I would go as
My
far as
favorite.
maybe the best species design of the prequels.
I don't know about all
Up
that.
there. I
but-
love
but
them,
very
so
good.
I co-sign
Very
with an
good.
asterisk.
I would
I
say-
would remind the court that Nautilins started in the prequels and
That is
other
true.
such, but
Also,
So
how
I don't
cool is
know
it
if
that
I agree with
Sebulba,
that
They walk
statement.
on
That's
their
why
hands?
I said perhaps.
are those his hands or his feet? We don't know.
we don't know.
Because also
One
he
thing
drives
we-
with those
and-
ones.
and-
He
and
drives
who
with the ones he
amongst
walks
us-
on.
Yes.
Who amongst
Yes.
us did not try to do a Sebulba walk when you were a kid? You tried to have
Oh,
that
cool.
strength.
All the time.
Oh yeah, no. We're
See,
that
I-
entire age bracket.
That's how
One
I
thing we
tried
must
to graduate
mention-
high school to get my diploma.
One of the best scenes in Star Wars was when we watch this man get a hand rub and a foot rub from a sexy, barely dressed Twi'lek. It honestly got
Two
me a
of 'em.
boner as a child.
Sebulba had
And
taste.
weren't they not originally Twi'leks? That was
Contained
something that was
thyself.
changed in future releases? Or am I crazy?
No, I think they're
I
always
think
been
they always
sexy
were the
Twi'leks.
same.
No,
Okay.
I always
have a
remember them
trading
as
card.
Twi'leks.
Yeah.
Now, also, I would say, just because we've been taking many factors into account, I think Sebulba has one of the best alien dialects and voice performances for a non-basic speaking character in all of Star Wars. His voice fucking rocks.
Yeah,
It's so cool. He sounds like a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, no.
Woodsy.
All in on Sebulba. He is the king of my glove shit.
No, put it away.
No,
Get it out.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
S tier. I believe we all
Even
in agreement.
Sebulba's like, fuck that.
S tier. S
Yeah,
tier.
like-
Judge Cable, do you agree?
All the way.
I think
I was
another
about to
thing about
say-
Sebulba, just quickly, humility and victory is overrated. Talk your shit. That is
Yes.
Sebulba's
Jared.
energy.
Yeah, man. And
To a
I would
child.
say one of the greatest pods. I loved that pod. I thought that pod was so much cooler than Anakin's when I was a kid, and I
Yes.
stand by that.
Mhm.
It's the sound.
It's the sound is the coolest of all of them. It looks the coolest. That toy
You
was one
guys-
of my favorite
Man.
of the prequel that we have right down there. That toy was fucking awesome.
I don't know if any of you, like I did, grew up on Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Sebulba is the dude with the black car with flames that Danny Zuko races.
Yes.
The enemy car to Grease Lightning. That's it. That is it. It's incredible. And you know what? Knowing George Lucas, maybe even intentional. I think it's the same color.
Our next one, Anakin Skywalker.
All right. Okay.
To me, a solid A tier.
This again, we're gonna need precedence.
We gotta discuss brass tacks here.
This,
I think if
said earlier,
Sebulba goes in
a-
S tier, Anakin goes in S tier.
but this is
Michael,
a magical.
He
boy.
only completed one race in his career.
Yes, that was it, and he
Until the video game Racer Revenge, in which case he competed once more.
This kid is a phenom of raw talent. The Woody Norman, the Millie Bobby Brown, the Vivian Lyra Blair.
Oh my God.
Of this game, no doubt.
The Nicholas from WrestleMania 34.
the Nicholas, absolutely. The School of Rock era Miranda Cosgrove. It's undoubtedly. But again, magic. This is a child. I don't want to shame him. It has nothing to do with his background. It has nothing to do with his upbringing or his unfortunate social strata, his caste. It has nothing to do with any of that. But I heard through the grapevine that he doesn't have a dad. And that's not saying it's a broken home. I'm saying he literally came out of thin air. And if that isn't some form of doping, then I don't know what it is.
Shmi is the one who needs investigating.
I'm telling you, A tier. There's nothing more I can talk about with this. It's just an A tier character.
Jared being predictable.
Jesus.
Kill myself.
Look,
I was going to be
Are we going
generous.
to bring up the fact that Vader did just pod race?
Darth Vader is also an unlockable racer in Racer Revenge, I would like to point out.
But he literally just pod raced canonically in
Yes, I guess
Greg
you're right.
Pak's
He
run, and he met Kitster and Wald with Sabe. It was like a Phantom Menace reunion, and he raced, and he was still good, but also
Still got it.
he still got it. But then also, mechanized. What does that do? I don't know about this. I mean, like, I Anakin can't be lower than B. That's undoubtedly true.
Let me just say this: Anakin Skywalker never finished the
Damn. Fuck. Anyway,
race.
sorry.
You can let this determine where you want it, but Anakin Skywalker never finished a race until he saw a girl that made him feel so good that he was like, I'm gonna try this time.
Dude,
And-
relatable though.
And whether that increases how you feel about his status or lowers, I don't know. I don't really know. But it's an interesting thing because, again, you look at his record. We've looked at everybody's records here, right? Anakin's does not hold up in any way. He won one race. If you tried to tell me a Formula One driver in our universe is S tier for having won one race, I'd tell you you're insane.
Yes,
So
I agree. I really do think A tier. Deeply.
He was 9, though, to be fair.
The fact
again, it's on the edge. It's on the edge. but
And
they're
as
gonna
we
mess.
know from Akko, 9 is the bar.
and stupid, and the fact that he left the game and he left town.
He left at his prime.
He
Yes.
he wants to go
that
become
win.
He wants to become a Jedi.
That win. Yeah, that win was all puberty. That's all
But
that
guys,
was.
in
That's all
Racer
that was.
Revenge, he comes back and races again.
It is A tier. Can we all agree A tier?
Hey,
A tier.
I
It's a
think
very
it's
strong A tier, very high A
very
tier, but
strong.
But I
He
think
does
he's
not
highest.
quite live
We
up to your
cannot
shrivel brain
let
trans.
we can't let the deeds
And we'll
of
put him at
Anakin
the top. and
Skywalker,
tell him.
the man, the hero, deter us from focusing on the core here.
Just look at our S tier. Dunbolt, Triple Bertrand, Envy Indicon, Cascano, and Sepultima. This next one
Yes.
is going to cause a fire.
You know what I said? Talent
Yep.
skips a generation. He ain't his dad.
I would
He ain't
honestly
his
say
dad.
D tier.
He
There's just
it's very
Yeah.
similar to a Michael Schumacher, Mick Schumacher scenario. Like
yes.
one is a record-breaking champion, one is not even on the grid. So it's like,
And you know what? This is why Harrison Ford's son is a chef and not an actor.
Yes.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pivot and forge your own path. Like, do you think LeBron's kids are going to go to the NBA? I mean, why would
possibly,
you?
possibly.
Maybe, yeah. I don't
You
know what
never
I'm
know.
talking about, but it's Luke, you have your thing, man. You have your thing.
Yes.
You're
got
blasting Womp Rats in your T16, man.
Blasted Womp Rats. I mean, you're up there for one of the best pilots and like Jedi Master. Like, you got plenty going on for you, but
You don't need
Pod racing's an aliens game.
I think Luke is a bitch and should be sent back to Tashi Station, D tier.
I wouldn't say D, but I would certainly say C.
Again, Luke Skywalker's a racer.
But then, yeah, and also
I could go D. I
could go D too, because think about this. We made it a point to touch on Anakin's origins and his magic. Luke has the same magic. And can anyone name me a single noteworthy
true.
W?
That's true. Do us a favor,
Single
Jerry.
noteworthy W with the magic buff.
Go to the
Look.
D tier. I just want to see who would be in the ranks with again. Let's go to D tier.
He'd be with his friend Fixer.
He'd be with
Lays,
there.
that lazy fuck.
Clegg
Look.
and Elon.
Luke might add some class to these gentlemen down here. all
Bring in
right?
the D tier. Judge Cable, I think we can all agree. D tier. Luke Skywalker.
Yes,
Luke's
D
just
tier,
not-
his helmet.
Luke's-
His helmet looks stupid.
Luke sits comfortably in S and A and almost every list he appears in. It's time to humble the bastard. D.
Man's just not a racer.
Damn straight.
He's not a racer. He's not got the
This
heart of
next,
Not a
He's
racer.
not even the
Well, no.
member of his family, aside from Anakin, that I would submit to the league. Like, if I had to. I mean,
Yes.
first of all, if you're talking about the Skywalker family, including the meridiem people, if it ain't Han, fuck it. Or Ben Solo, I guess.
yes.
But
This next one, however, I chose a very interesting photo for this next one, and this is also I believe in legends. So our next one is a strange one, Ahsoka Tano, but I chose her as a attractive.
the fuck kind of lo-fi fan art is this? So Ahsoka, you're saying only Podrace in Legends?
Yes, only Podrace and Legends. And I just this fan art. Something drew me. It's a Podrace jacket, which I thought was kind of cool.
I just don't think this should even count. C tier.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it happened, probably, because of Anakin's direct mentorship, we'll go C. One rank. Get that out of here. One rank. One rank above Luke, but nowhere near. I'm talking low C.
And long overdue female representation for the sport, but she
Also not
didn't
real.
She didn't accomplish anything. She didn't accomplish anything.
D tier. Ahsoka Tano. D. Our last five, gentlemen. We have gone far enough for our last five. Here we go. Most excited for these. Unbelievable.
Ah, this
Ugh.
rat. This
Ugh.
Now, before we start shit talking, because I know we will, and it will be deserved.
Rule 34.
The Alina are a cool species.
They
And I
are.
really
They
dig their
very
design.
much are.
They are
So
cool.
therefore,
I donated when they had that earthquake disaster.
hell yeah.
I changed my Facebook profile picture.
It was great.
Yes.
I don't think that we should put Rats Tyrell in D tier. That is the most I'll say in regards to
No.
him.
I completely agree. I don't think this is a character that was was the second lap or the first lap. I
Look,
don't remember.
He gave his life for the sport.
Second.
No,
And look how excited he was.
no,
His
he gave his life for
family.
being an idiot. Look, okay, again, go look at what cameras have captured this man.
Roll the footage.
Right?
Can we bring
What's
up
the
the
first
replay?
thing? The first thing you see, disrespecting a pit droid, pushing it around, yelling at it
that's
in
true.
front of his kids. What kind of example is that?
And a newborn, no less.
Yeah. What kind of example is that? He's too busy shouting, being bossy. His wife and kids are like trying to wave at him, and he's like not even paying attention. And it's just like, and yeah, is it safe for a newborn to go into a pod racing ring? Like, come on, the heat, the air quality. It's like that's just terrible parenting. So this guy, he sickens me. He's a bad parent. He's a bad role model. And you know, he's probably just so self-centered that's why he flew directly into a rock.
Oof. That was his choice.
This
So
is a
Michael says it
goddamn
cannot be a
indictment.
D, it cannot be a D tier. Alden, where do you lie? Because this could be the tiebreaker. Really,
I am way more sympathetic to Mr. Tyrell than my esteemed co-counselor Nikki, because I would imagine big money on the line, Sebulba in the race, Dud in the race, this new kid that they say could be the first human ever, all that pressure in front of the Hutt cartel with your wife there with a baby. She just popped out. This woman just went through. I get it. I get that this was high stress, and it sucks. It sucks that his children lost their father. So I assholes, you know, assholes can be parents, and you know, he had an asshole day, and it's just maybe, I don't know. Part of me just wonders maybe he should have lived, and someone else should have died, like Clay Holdfast.
In the story, if I'm not mistaken, there is a Tyrell Foundation. If I'm not mistaken, there's a foundation in his name against pod racing after his death.
He
So
tried to
there
kill the
is-
sport.
That's true.
Regardless of what
Take
happened
this
to
man.
Rats.
Trying to take it down with him.
With regards to what happened to Rats, I just hope that his son will finally be able to get the win and finish the story.
I believe
You're
Rats
in luck,
Tyrell
Michael.
is a C tier character. I do. Is anyone else? So Michael says not D tier. Nikki is a hard D tier. And Alden, where do you lay? Do you think he'd be a C tier? I think C tier is the most fitting for a
I
character
think
like Rats.
C is where I feel comfortable.
C tier.
But if I'm
Okay.
outvoted
think-
on that,
Look, you know, we can make excuses for him all you want. I can be comfortable with C because the noise he makes when he dies is satisfying.
Can
It,
someone do the
do be
noise?
good to listen to.
What's the noise?
I would have to do something weird to my face to make that noise. So
Jerry, that was good. Do it again, Jerry.
Oh, I didn't.
Jerry, give us your Rats Tyrell dying ASMR.
yeah,
There you go.
it's very Donald Duck.
C
Oh,
tier.
that's
Yes, you gotta go to the same place as Donald Duck. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, our next
C
one.
tier.
This may be surprising. C tier. Our next one. Here we go.
Rats.
My man, this guy redeems his family name. All right.
Dealing.
This guy, again, talent skips a generation. He got lucky. He's the talented one.
damn.
Okay, higher C tier.
Look, I love a redemptive tale. I want to put this young man in B.
He's
I
a B.
love that he broke free of not just the shadow of a parent,
Yes.
but the loss of a parent, the tragedy. Witnessed a magical boy get lifted up in the air and cheered for while his dad was smoking.
Dead.
His dad was
His ruin upon the mountainside.
Like, No one lifted up Deland. Not a thank you or a fuck you for Deland. Nobody went over there and said, "Here's a couple credits. Grab a churro. Your dad's dead." No, and he rose above.
He came back. He overcame his fears because he saw this sport kill his dad. He could have walked away, but he said no. He faced it. He got in the cockpit and he raced.
He was determined.
He raced.
To finish the story.
Honestly, he makes me feel good about life in general. So
A tier.
Deland Tyrell might actually be the main character of Star Wars.
But Deland,
But can he solve
great name,
racism?
too.
Lucasfilm, call us.
Deland is a great name. I agree.
Just
Deland's
like,
a fan.
I'm gonna name my
Nikki, Deland Tyrell is Rooster from Maverick.
It's true.
That's right.
We say B tier.
No. B or A?
B.
I would even go as far as A, but B is fine.
A makes me laugh, but B is
B tier. Scotty will name his first child Deland.
Deland. This is it. It's been determined. All right, our next one.
Deland Tyrell Jero.
I
Get
hate
this.
design.
Get this arrival as
This looks like
motherfucker.
Halo.
I don't like
Halo.
it. It does look
This
like
looks
an
like
infection
the
form.
gas bags that you shoot at the beginning of Mass Effect 1 on Eden Prime.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes, I
How do
even
you
know
pronounce
what that
this
is.
fucker's name?
Straight to the
You pronounce it D tier.
yeah.
But I do
What
like
needs
the
to be
title of
said?
this pod.
Dick Warren Tojo.
One
Zidek
needs to be said.
Rentojo.
Get him out of here.
I do really like Wellos and
Is
Alos
he dead?
825. That's the name of his pod. Yes, so D tier. D tier is very fitting for a character that looks as ugly as this. Did you put him in the D tier, Gerald? Let's see. D tier.
He is going to the D tier.
This next one I'm
Not
excited
there.
for. Here we go. Cy Younger.
Cy Young has got
Amazing.
talent, man.
Amazing pod design. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I love how stupid that looks.
He kind
How
of
can
reminds me
he see-
of Connor, and I'm not sure why.
Look, Cy Younga,
Like-
he's a crowd favorite at the Sunken City. I think you can't put a crowd favorite in D, and maybe
No.
you shouldn't even put him in C. So I think he might be a solid B.
It's a Dianoga
Sweet.
person.
C tier.
I was gonna say.
I think
looks
C is
like
very
Pleakley
comfortable.
from
Pleakley, yeah.
Lilo
His
and
first
Stitch.
name is C, so
C tier then, Judge Cable. Then we got one more after this, and we can call it a night. C tier. We've done the hardest work for all of you.
C tier.
Michael.
You say?
C tier, yes. On our final one for the eve.
Zanels.
Jesus
Well-
Christ!
Zanal beads.
What's even going on here?
I
don't
just
even
want to know
I don't
what's
even
coming
know
out of
where
his
to look.
hips. Is that his belt? Is that his?
He looks like one of Sid's toys, like just
Yeah.
like things that have been
Yeah, he
just
does.
stuck together.
This is a character that George would not approve the design for.
This is
I
some sort of
wholeheartedly believe
satanic
this.
entity.
Yeah,
That looks like Miss Piggy's body with a demon head.
I
Pull
don't
up,
like
pull
this.
up Austin Richards' comment.
This is so Sigma Riz.
Something about that felt right to me.
Yes, very Sigma is.
He looks like
Barbara Bush.
Are we feeling C tier for this gentleman?
I don't know. It looks like a ripoff of Anakin's pod. It's like a shittier, chunkier version of Anakin's pod. With like a
What if
Sebulba.
this is what the sheriff was riding in or the marshal? Cobb
Oh, it
Vanth
was this one. This is
riding
Cobb
one of
Vanth's
these-
pod.
One of these.
Oh.
Yes.
I really do think, as our last one, this is most definitely what I would consider a D tier character.
I agree.
Can we all agree?
This
Oh,
is-
D
this is
tier.
D.
Yeah.
I won't fight it.
Yep.
Denales. Jerry, can you please go to the very top and we can all review our tier list?
Oh,
Yes. Hold on here.
A wonderful night of discourse, gentlemen.
And is
As
there
long as the Phantom
anything that
Menace-
anybody feels cannot stand? Any mistakes that we made?
No.
I don't.
Bold, Schiffel, Bratrand, Ebby, Intercut, Cascano, and Zabur, all of our S tiers. That's fair. 5 S tiers out of 38 selections. That's actually
That
very
makes
impressive.
S tier
That is-
very yes. That's precious.
Yes, it is
That's
precious.
solid.
Very high. Very high
A
praise.
tier.
Some might
has how
say
many?
Bozzy Baranta it belongs in that level of precious.
You know what? If we wanted to move Bozzy up to S,
I would be. I'd be
I
okay
wouldn't
with-
be mad.
I'd
Jerry-
be okay with it.
Move Bossy up to S, please.
Bozzy. Moving on up. Moving on up.
Now we have an equal number of S and A tiers.
That's
B
beautiful.
tier.
There goes my.
I would be okay with Akko 9 bar going up there as well, but I'm not going to-
I guess we're just saying things.
Let's see. C tier is so fitting. Mars Guo, Sayunga. And this just makes sense.
Yeah.
This is good. Go back all the way down to D tier. D tier is my favorite. D tier
I
is
just
the
got,
most
I got an
entries.
email from Clegg Holdfast publicist wants to know where Clegg ended up in the ranking.
Let's
Not
see.
great.
Go back. Not great. Sorry.
You can read about it in his paper.
In his zine.
Well, after a wonderful night of deliberation and discussion, I feel that we must all let the people know who are watching still currently, 10 people. Let us please know where you are from and your wonderful intelligence in Star Wars and what gives you the right to discuss these things. Michael?
You can find me on Twitter at Local First Order. You can find me on YouTube, All Remaining Systems, where I do a variety of content. Recently, we have started Season 2 of Ionized Bastards, my Star Wars RPG series, which actually recently involved a pod race, and Season 2 is a great place to jump in. I highly recommend you all go check it out and see what happened at the Pod Race Royale, featuring Lonnie Gibbstra. Also, I should be getting back to writing my Star Wars fan fiction very soon. I write a series of fan fiction centered around original characters. You can either read it on my Archive of Our Own page, which you can find through my Twitter, or you can listen to me do readings of them on my YouTube page. What else do I have to plug? I might be doing more ASMR content soon, so check that shit out. I don't know.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Mr. Diaz?
Oh, you want me to talk?
plug. Yes,
Oh.
you're more than welcome to. I put your podcast in the chat.
Oh, you're so nice. Yeah, Octa Radio is returning in the next week or so with writer, podcaster, host, journalist Mark Bernardin, Kevin Smith's partner on Fat Man Beyond, and the writer of the Mace Windu comic book series. I'll also say here, even though I haven't formally announced it anywhere, and it'll get a formal announcement later, the next guest on Octa Radio is going to be Quinn Tran, who was the cinematographer on Shadow Warrior.
Fantastic.
And then Anytime with Ken and Alden every Friday, 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern. We'll have Ken Plume on tomorrow to talk about tech disruption and how it's ruining everything. Ken's the author of the Art of DuckTales book, as well as other TV and movie books that you can buy. And
Fascinating.
I'm on Bastards. What else do I do? Oh, yeah, I beat Jared in trivia. Death, taxes, and I beat Jared. Those are the only certainties in this world.
And no, there's one more certainty, Alden.
What's that?
A Lamau.
Alamau. Leave it Alamau in the chat if you're still here.
Nikki, let us hear of your musings.
All right, you can check out the Imperial Senate podcast, which is also waking up in the year of our Lord
Wake me
Bosbaranta
up.
2024.
Here.
You can catch my new solo show on that feed. The Yup Nub Club is starting this week. So that should be a fun adventure there. You can also check out, I don't know, other things that are still in the works. One and Done Film Club. It's not back yet, but it will be. Rewatch
Yes.
Between Worlds on Octa Radio. Not back yet, but it will be.
Wonderful.
And that's it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming and spending your evening with us, deciding on which pod was the most best. And I'm glad we all were in agreement that some of these in particular, Jerry, can you scroll back up to the 8? I just want to look at the S tier. Dudbolt, Shrivel Bertrand, Abby, and Gascano, Sepulta, and Bozzy. This was not what I expected, but it's exactly what we deserved. Thank you, everyone, for coming by this evening and hanging out. And as always, Jerry, what should they do? Oh, listen to our podcast. The podcast is back. And if you
Yes,
want
we have a
it's-
podcast. Podcast
it's
is
very
back.
Podcast is back. We'll be recording this weekend, some more stuff. So that being said,
Yes.
Jerry, what should they do?
You should make sure to always fill out your paperwork and also stay bombad.
Honored individuals of the court, with the profoundest sentiments of gratitude, we draw to a close this noble undertaking of tier list crafting. Within these tiers, we discern a mirror of human toil and promise. May they be set as an enduring monument to the labors of each and every participant. In the hallowed name of Bombad we pledge our trust, and in the pursuit of Bombad excellence we endeavor to abide.